No, they're too noisy.
Testing.
Oh, yeah.
Micro check.
Everyone test. Will Matt test?
Testing.
Will Chris test?
Testing.
Will Tom test?
Testing.
Will Haley do the final test?
Testing!
And now everyone test together. Test.
A load of loud noises.
Rabble.
Awesome. Hello everyone and welcome to the Kittens of War Gaming podcast, where we review a ton of games, or in this situation we review only one because it is the Guild Wars 2 special. I'm excited for this. Everyone else, I imagine you guys are excited for it, are you?
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, of course. I am back to full podcasting fitness after last week. I was barely audible.
The recovery is finished.
It is finished, yeah. I'm fully recovered now, so...
He's back, and he's better than ever.
They had the money, so they could rebuild me. So there we are.
They had the technology.
We did have a technology. We had to kind of steal it from Russia and some very poor parts of China, so you might be a bit...
It's all just like ice cream sticks and duct tape.
Yeah, that's it. And I might just occasionally just bust out into Chinese and Russian every now and then.
The
But still.
$10 man.
Yeah. One of the great things for this review, as we said, we are reviewing Guild Wars 2. One of the great things about this is that we have players that from the played thousands of hours to players that have played hundreds of hours to players that have played tens of hours to players that have played 0 hours. So we've got lots of a broad variety of people that know the game to death, i.e. me, and people who've never played the game. We've got a broad spectrum of people. With us this week, as you may have already heard them, I'll announce them and introduce them as they deserve. We've got Tom, Haley, Matt and Chris. Everyone say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Someone opening up a drink there, I can hear it. Is anyone having beer?
Not beer.
Who's having the drink?
That'd be me.
What are you having?
Pepsi.
Ah, yeah! I'm having Pepsi too, so there we go.
I've got vodka and mango juice, because I'm just that cool.
Ooh.
All I can imagine is like someone there with a brandy is just like with a glass in front of a smoking fire talking about video games, you know?
Just lay back.
That would be me. Like, once I get my
If I
fireplace,
could do blue screen, what? If I could do green screen, I had the money, I would so love to do that.
smoking jacket and everything.
Your
Oh,
comments,
hello. I didn't hear you come in.
just like reading like a really big book. The ornithology of everything. Oh, hello there. I did not notice you come in. Welcome to my Bordeaux.
Just thinking like a Family Guy's Buzz Killington. Let me regale you in a tale.
Well, there's no Buzz going to be killed here this week because we're talking about Guild Wars 2. For anyone that doesn't realise, that is the game I've played the most of in my entire life.
It is your crack, isn't it?
Yeah, it is my drug. So before we get there, we've got plenty of stuff to get through before we talk about Guild Wars 2 and we open that can of worms because there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about there. First of all, we're talking about our gaming experiences, a new part of the show we had last week, where we just basically talk about the things that happened this week in games for us and the games that we've been playing. I will start off. I have been playing South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
And I finally know what Tom's been going on about the underpants gnomes. So, spoilers ahead. What the fuck is wrong with that?
I know, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you see exactly what we meant by you will know it when it happens.
Every YouTuber who I've seen cover that scene, they always put a big disclaimer just before it, saying,
I
this
don't know
is just...
this.
Don't ruin it for yourself, honestly.
Oh, nothing can prepare you. And you can't have it spoiled, or else it takes the magic out.
Basically, something really
Bad.
bad happens.
Underpants gnomes. That's generally all I need. That's just like, okay.
Oh, that's not the weird part.
No.
Yeah. Dude, you need to play it and catch up. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're having like a Game
You
of
guys
Thrones.
talking about these
tonight.
gnomes? I know you guys are talking about the gnomes and South Park, but the thing is, when I was at uni, I wrote this story about a horde of gnomes that crashed a party and raped people and
What?
bit their knees.
The knee-nibbling gnomes?
Yeah, the knee-nibbling gnomes.
You were in a
Yeah.
dark place when you wrote that.
What? This is greatest non sequitur ever, isn't it? Oh, underpants gnomes.
It's
Raping
not
gnomes.
underpants
Gnomes that piss off your
It's all
kneecaps.
fun. I wrote a story where gnomes rape people.
There's something wrong with you, Haley.
I was in the weird.
Poor Will. He's already hasn't been in the podcast for
Yes.
5 minutes, and he's already been raped by underpants gnomes. What the hell is going on? Poor guy. But yeah, I had that. The other moment I had myself, which got plastered all over our Facebook page in absolute disbelief. Let me paint the picture for you guys. I've got 2 daughters, one of which is coming up to about 5 years old, and one of them is very little. So I was putting the little one to bed. She has an earlier bedtime, right? Anyway, Destiny was on. I said, well, fair enough. It's got no blood and gore. I'll just let her loose on it for a little while. My eldest daughter.
Yeah.
I put little one up to bed. I come down the stairs, and what pops up on my screen? A big purple flash. She actually got me a legendary. Just to put in perspective, I have played a lot of hours of that game. So has Matt, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The number of legendaries that me and Matt have had dropped for us is a big fat 0. So the fact that, my daughter spent less than maybe 5 minutes playing it and got like the best drop in the game, it's just a little bit funny. So now she apparently she's been telling everyone, I got this great thing for Daddy, and now even when she wants to play in her free time, I'm kind of like letting her just do a little bit of Destiny on the side, get me a few extra things. So
that's it. I have been hearing recently, just like, I want to play Destiny with Uncle Matt.
Yeah.
It's like, you can play as Uncle Matt. I'll give you my pass if you get me a legendary.
That's it.
Yeah, but she seems to really hit it lucky with the random loot drops, because it's all friggin' random, isn't it?
That's it.
She has her grandfather's luck.
RNG sits with the 5-year-old's favour.
Yeah. No, me and Matt were there, and my dad, sorry, I call him granddad because her granddad, was playing Destiny. That's right, 3 generations of players right there. And he got a legendary drop, and he got an exotic, which is the best item you can get out of the game. So obviously apparently luck skips a generation, and I'm caught right smack bang in the middle. I'm not getting any of it. So there we are, unfortunately. What about you guys? What have you what experiences, memorable moments, and games have you been playing this week?
I've had 2 precious moments in a couple of games this week. I've started playing Crusader Kings 2.
All right.
And I just had a family started going on, King of Cornwall. A message pops up saying my king is inspecting up damage to a high tower in my castle, and suddenly my youngest son's face pops out the window. This is like 50 meters up into the air. Do you know what that son's name is?
Go on.
Bran.
No.
Nice.
I'm just sitting there thinking, Game of Thrones. Well, oh God! All I need is twins now, and this will all go to hell. And my second moment this week, playing Neo Scavenger. They've got a lot of new content on. I was roaming around the woods, just searching around for loot and whatnot. I found a crashed hover truck. I look through it. I find 3 boxes, chock-a-block, full of Twinkies.
Nice.
So not only Twinkies, and in this game they don't have a finite time. They will constantly be, and they're worth like $5 a piece. 3 crates. That's quite big.
Yeah.
The next turn, someone pops up. I pull out my spear and shout at and threaten him to leave me alone. Next thing I know, I'm dead. Shot in the face. I told Haley this, and what did you tell me, Haley?
I said it must have been Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally found his
To make a
Twinkies.
Tallahassee reference, I was like, come on, I'm waiting for my moment. Tallahassee. It's all about the Twinkies. Got to enjoy the little things.
So the Twinkies cost you your life.
Yes, indeed.
Oh.
Not even a moment of just like, oh, you've been shot. Literally, just kick straight to the game over screen. You suffered from a traumatic brain injury.
Instant Twinkie doom.
Like, your brain, it's mush now.
There is nothing left. I don't even think my body was looted. He was just there for the 3 boxes of Twinkies.
I'm not surprised at how much you died over the Twinkies because of Tallahassee.
A shot to the head was lucky. You could have got tortured for that sort of shit.
Yeah.
No. Tallahassee wouldn't put up with that nonsense. And if there's going to be nothing between him and 3 boxes of Twinkies.
Yes.
instant death to everything in between, and complete disregard of it.
Oh, awesome. Haley, is there any memorable moments happened in Just Starve this week? Or Don't Starve, sorry.
Well, I'm currently playing the best seed ever. It's so perfect because the first day I found Chester and I found the swamp. I always try to set up by the swamp because then you have access to the tentacle spikes and you can lure creatures in there to their doom and then take the meat.
Just what's Chester? Just so people know.
Oh,
yeah.
Chester is the creature that you can kind of get the eye bone. It's an object that you grab and he follows you and you can put stuff in his mouth so he carries extra stuff.
A travelling inventory for you.
But
okay.
he's
Olivia.
Totally. And then after 3 days, I found a random dropped walking cane, which is handy because it makes you go faster. And if you're the toughest bird on the in the game, which is who I am, you're really slow. So
yeah, I can state that a walking cane does increase your speed because I go from 0 to something. So yeah, just saying that.
Sorry, swagger, not swag. Increases your swagger.
I'm currently on day 54, I think. So it's my longest streak in a while.
So you're going to keep on living?
No starving.
Until you go underground.
Until I keep dying because I go underground, but I have to go underground at some point for the, just to explore, really.
To get out of the
aim
grid.
of exploration.
Go out of the grid.
Survival.
The reason I say what have you done on Don't Starve because I know you've been playing that this week. So
really, what on earth have you played this week?
Oh dear.
Oh wait, hang on, let me guess.
Chris, what about your memorable moments this week?
Well, I actually had quite a memorable moment in when I was playing Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl for the channel.
Yeah.
And oh man, that game's kicking my ass at the moment. I I seem to have loaded into one of the most heinous randomly generated games ever. Everything seems to be against me. It's like I got ambushed by some boars that scared the absolute shit out of me, and I panic fired and wasted loads of shotgun rounds and said, fuck off and die. And I got fucking owned by an anomaly in a tunnel. It lied to me. I picked up a PDA off a dead stalker who was dead outside, and it said, I've noticed a pattern in the anomalies. Maybe I can work it out and get through. I went, okay, so there's a pattern to the anomalies. I spent a good 15 minutes using the bolts to set it off to see what the pattern was. Fuck the pattern, it's entirely random.
The sequence is a lie.
Yeah, you just got to run through it, throwing bolts in front of you to set it off so you can get through. And there's really good loot, off of dead stalkers right at the end, but the end is where it's where it fires off most frequent, so it's impossible to get. I got really angry, and then I went, fuck it, I'll leave it. I walked right into the middle of a fight between some stalkers and some bandits. I wiped out the bandits. I was like, awesome. Went into the buildings to find out what was there. I came across some flesh creatures. Those who got fucking messed up, and one of them turned around and went Rah! At me, and I shot it in the face. It didn't attack me. It just turned around to see what I was, but it moved so suddenly I just reflex fired.
It could have been anything.
Yeah, the game got even worse because I've got to get past this bandit checkpoint to get to my next objective, and I thought, right, okay, this going to be easy enough. There's only 5 of them, so I wiped them out in short order. I was like, oh cool, now I'm going to loot them all because I need to loot to stay alive. I was looting them all. I went, right, okay. Did I get everyone? I think I've got everyone. Was just about to set off. The bandits respawned. Or I don't know whether some came back from patrol or anything. Because whenever you get someone that walks into the range of your minimap, you get a little beep because your PDA is picking up their PDA, and it'll go beep 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 beep. And I was like, what the fuck's that? There can't be more of them, surely. Oh no, 5 of them walk out of a building and own the absolute shit out of me. God fucking damn it. I was so angry when I respawned because I respawned all the way back to the end of the anomaly tunnel.
Oh no.
Oh, bitch.
Evil.
I came across the stalkers who were taking out the bandits, and I was like, right, fuck it, everyone's dying this time. To kill everyone, get on with it. Yeah, that game's kicking my arse at the moment. I haven't even got to the harder bits yet. I'm still on basically the prequel missions.
And it's bending you over and spanking you, is it?
It is, yeah. It is really doing my nutting at the
Like
moment.
the red-headed stepchild of a disobedient mule.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It is doing my nutting at the moment. It's still pretty fun though, and it is like especially when I think my last playthrough was me wandering around in like the dark for the first time, and god damn it, I don't like it. I forgot how fucking just unnerving that game can be in the dark, because you hear noises and you hear growls and you hear like screeches and squelches, and not all of it's threatening because it could be stuff that's happening quite far away from you, but you can still hear the tail end of it. I don't know. There's nothing's happening around me.
Wait, Chris, I'm confused. Do you mean the dark in your room or it's dark in the game?
In the game.
Both.
Yeah. But,
Once you turn off the game and go to bed, the
Yeah.
sounds are still there.
especially because I usually have like my volume quite loud when I play a game that's got a horror element, because that's the only way to play a horror game. People who are listening, only way to play a horror game: lights off, volume at max. Volume at max, staring intently at the screen. You get the full experience.
That's it. That's the only way. There's a lot of games that are like that though. That
Yeah.
I want to play with just the volume max stuff and stuff like that. So.
Because there are a lot of subtle sound effects in games like that if you turn down the volume, you'll miss. And there's lots of little sound effects that like just add to the creep out value. There's like little things, you'll hear something like scampering behind you, and it'll be like, "Who the fuck?
What was that?"
Yeah, you'll turn around and blind fire for a few moments. Like, "Who the fuck are you?"
It's like, hey, whatever it is, stop it.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So, Matt, what have you been doing this week? What's your gaming experiences?
My gaming for this week, other than sort of like Destiny again.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of
but-
Destiny, haven't we?
It has been quite a lot of Destiny. But I must thank you all for the reintroduction last night of how much I enjoyed Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
Oh, yes. How could I
I've
forget?
actually been playing more today. And you know what? I'm quite shocked. The servers are really good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they're still really strong. I'm just like, find a game. I'm not waiting. I'm like, pretty much as good as it was when it came out. Like, I'm not waiting for servers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always found that about Mass Effect. It's always had like one of the strongest online stability that I've ever come across. You jump into games pretty quickly. It's very rare you'll get kicked out of a game due to a bad server. It's really freaking solid.
It's not too stressful though, is it? Only having 4 people on a small map. So I guess in a design point of view, they made it so it was stable.
Yeah.
They didn't make it loads of elaborate sky pieces or anything along those lines, which I appreciate, because especially on Mass Effect, I'm not going to be standing on the edges going, "Oh, look at that skybox, that's fantastic." I'm going to be busy killing stuff, That's
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
that? Is that collector's coming around the corner? No!
Yeah, you have more pressing issues.
But yeah, no, last night was good, especially with just like the 3 Krogan just
Oh,
rampaging.
that was too much fun.
that's the other experience I want to talk about. Somehow we got
You
random
experienced
gifts.
so much, Tom.
Yes, so much this week. Got a Krogan war chief, and it's just he stands like a good head taller than the other Krogan. So I was the tall one of the group, which I found weird.
Compensator.
Compensator, yes. And he had a giant hammer. How good was that hammer,
Even
Tony?
more compensating.
The hammer was very good, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of euphemisms.
Good for us, bad for the enemy, but good for us.
Yeah.
Just marched on through and stomped on everything.
It was like they were adding like more and more stuff for us to go against, like the Praetorians, and we're like, "Oh wait, we might have to actually do tactics." It's like, no, everyone just run in and heavy melee it down. it's
Everyone just
fine.
runs headbutts and hammers.
Just be Krogan, just headbutt it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was too much fun. So yeah, lots of funny gaming experiences for the week there, over a lot of different games, and hopefully no more underpants gnomes, because I think I've seen enough of that to last me a while.
You will never forget that bit of game. That will haunt you for the rest of your days.
Okay, so a little bit of news this week. I don't have that much, but there's some new games that were released this week. Bayonetta 2 for the Wii U was released.
Was it?
I'm a big fan of original Bayonetta, but because I don't want to buy a Wii U, I'm not going to play Bayonetta 2, and that's a bit of a shame, but
Yeah.
still. Alien Isolation also was released.
Yes. A
I've
game
seen
that
that
I
going
have
on
been
YouTube. I'm actually quite intrigued.
Yeah, well, I have been avoiding that game like the plague because I want to do a playthrough for my channel at some point.
That's
Oh,
I've been
that's-
avoiding it like a plague to watch that Let's Play, so
Yeah,
like your
well,
Let's Play.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, because when I did Amnesia and something and stuff of that. I'd watched a lot of Amnesia and Amnesia custom stories beforehand, so and the same with Outlast as well. So going in, I kind of knew what to expect, so it kind of takes a little bit of the scare element away. But with Alien Isolation, I'm like, nope, I will resist Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, everyone. Oh no, Jacksepticeye isn't actually doing it. But
he said he wanted to keep it to himself.
Yes, that's a game he wants to keep to
I
himself.
precious.
Yeah, well, he doesn't view his channel as being like a very Let's Play heavy thing, which I kind of guess I can actually see his point of view, like kind of his style of commentary and gameplay isn't.
It's just like going over and watching you make dick about.
Yeah.
Not every channel has to be a Let's Play channel,
No.
really. So.
I mean, I do Let's Plays because I enjoy playing games to the full, and I enjoy doing full run-throughs and stuff like that, and I enjoy commentating, and I find it's for me, it's easier to commentate on a long Let's Play. I mean, I can do small, stupid little games. I mean, I will be doing a lot of little indie games because I went on Game Jolt and downloaded a load of really cool indie games. I'm going to be smashing a load of those out over the next couple of days. But I do prefer doing long Let's Plays, and I've really got to get back into Outlast, but that game's scaring me again. I don't like it. But yeah, that's what I want for Alien Isolation. I want it to scare the absolute pants off me, so I'm avoiding
I can promise you now, Chris, it will scare you. I've only seen like 2-3 clips of it, and I'm not watching anymore because I know it's scary. I'm happy with it as a Aliens game, so I'm not touching it until I buy it.
From what I've seen of it, I've seen a few trailers and I've seen some screenshots, and I've read a couple of reviews online and stuff. And from what I've seen and from what I've read, it looks like a AAA game studio has looked at Amnesia and Outlast and things like that, games that have been really, really popular recently, but made by slightly smaller studios, and have taken that lesson, learnt the lesson, and are now applying it to like the Alien franchise and to a franchise that scared the pants off of everyone when it was released. So they're giving it a revamp, and they're giving it a new edge, and they're like it's not just like a shooter Alien / Predator game like we've had like over the last few years, and it's not going to be another Colonial Marines, which I think everyone was worried about. Everyone was terrified that this game was going to be another Colonial Marines, which was just an apocalyptically bad game. So bad, so bad.
Just thinking of it there, it's a bit weird that we've had to wait this long for an actual horror game around aliens, don't you think?
That is weird.
Yeah, a proper horror game. A game that isn't a shooter game.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like things like Alien and Predator, they are like perfect for horror. They are like horror gems, and they've never been utilized in that way. Like, and especially Predator as well. Like, kind of whenever any Predator game comes out, it's always a shooter game.
It's an action game as well, isn't it? Sometimes they do
it's like a shooter.
Yeah, it's like look at Concrete Jungle for a start.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You say that. If you look at the old Aliens vs Predator games, I remember 1 or 2 of the levels with the Marines being very tense.
But that's 1 or 2 levels, though. It's not like it's dedicated.
And you hear scuttling, you've got the motion tracker out, suddenly weep, and you're just like, oh god, what is that? Face hugger, oh god, instant death.
Yeah.
But ironically, don't you think that those levels are actually the best part of those games? Which is ironic that they never actually made a fully fledged horror game until now. It just seems really odd to me that no one ever actually did that. But.
Yeah, I mean, also there's other horror games, well, horror films that would be excellent turned into like survival horror, because that's what Alien Isolation is a survival horror.
Yeah.
It's not just a shooter horror, like, say, Dead Space is a shooter horror, even though Dead Space 3 is more of a fucking COD than it is an actual horror game.
Yeah.
Abomination, that game. I hated it. It destroyed the Dead Space series. But, like say a film like The Thing, for instance.
Oh,
that would make an excellent survival horror game.
Yeah. No, I did actually play the Thing game. It just wasn't very good. It was really bad.
Well, yeah, there's loads of other films. It's like 30 Days of Night. If
30 Days
of Night could work. Yeah.
Turn that into a survival horror game, that would shit you up, because like even the noise that those vampires make, oh my shit!
And there's no let up. It's always dark as well. So
yeah, it's like it is day. Well, you could have a survival horror game where you've either got to defeat the vampires, or you can like try and survive for the whole 30 nights and see how far you get, and you've got to you've got to like deal with other survivors, maybe rescue them, maybe some of them try to kill you for your supplies. You got to dodge the vampires every so often, and like some of them are brutal, some of them are quite intelligent. You've got to come up with new ways of doing it.
I think you're onto something there, Chris. You need to get into game development.
Yeah, and like there's so many good what was it 28 Days Later, that could make a good survival horror game.
Yeah.
It's just so much that can be done with survival horror. It's just like it's just not much is done with it. And I think like that's what Amnesia really did for like the horror community, was go, look, survival horrors shit you up.
I think the thing is that horror survival is quite a niche market, because a lot of people don't enjoy getting scared. And of course, the thing with AAA developers, they want to make as much money as they can. So are they going to focus on the next COD or something really interesting and unique that we would enjoy, but not the mainstream gamers would play?
As much as we hate it, and like this is a little bit annoying, but as much as we hate it, going to that point, what is going to make more money? The next Call of Duty Advanced Warfare or Alien Isolation? You know, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is going to make a ton of money over Alien Isolation.
Advanced Warfare is probably going to make more money than Isolation in its first day.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Even though Advanced Warfare is just a Titanfall ripoff. And everyone knows it, and everyone's still going to go and buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actively going to stay away from it, because I'm just going to go and buy Titanfall. Because
I haven't even played Ghosts, so I have no.
I haven't even played Ghosts.
I haven't played Ghosts, so
I got halfway through Black Ops 2, and that was it. I was done, because I didn't know anyone, I didn't care about anyone, and it was just bland, boring bollocks.
Yeah. I mean, I think COD fell into like, what was it, the time jump trap, where okay, games can sometimes do this well, but if you're constantly flashing forward between the future and the present and the past, or you're constantly flashing between the present and the past, unless you segue it well and you do it well, it takes you out of the game and you end up not giving a toss about the characters.
I'll tell you what game pulled that off really well. Sorry. The jumping forward and jumping back. Second Sight for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
That was fantastic.
I have no clue what that is.
I have no comment.
It's an obscure little gem, but I came across it somehow and I just played it, loved it.
I know what you mean though, like when you do time travel storylines like that, well, not really time travel, but like two different timelines storyline, right? Then it's very easy for things to get lost, because you're like, I know as a writer, that as a plot device is like scary. Like I would not write a story like that, because it is annoying to write, because it's a flow nightmare. It really is.
The writer's coming. The writer's coming.
But you know what I mean, like
coming.
It is a difficult thing to accomplish. It's got to be balanced well, and with writing between two timelines, you can actually flashback it to the past to give details on certain items without doing a full-blown flashback. It's just reminiscing sort of thing. But it is difficult to find the right balance. And if you are literally running two timelines parallel to each other, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. The main thing that I find with that, I know we're going on a tangent here, I will bring it back in a sec, but like the thing with that is that it's very hard to get like readers and stuff really enthused about, because I've read a lot of books that try and do the same thing, you know. It's really hard to get readers infused into an overall plot when you split it off on such a huge tangent. Even though you're going to bring it back later, like you really have to write it well. So like it's either going to be really good or really bad. So, but anyway, we rambled on about Alien Isolation for ages there. So that's awesome. I am looking forward to your Let's Play, Chris. By the way, I have stayed away from the game just to watch it. So.
I'll be doing was it The Evil Within as well?
Oh yeah.
That looks messed up as shit, and I really want to play that.
You know, in like 50 years, you're going to become like a sociopath after playing all these things. You'll be like, oh!
That's it. Just jump at every opportunity. Just like, where's it?
I become so messed up, even the Jehovah's Witnesses stay away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't ever go to that man's house. Never.
Yeah.
You know, because Chris once had SWAT teams at his door. You know, it's a crazy place, that house.
Yes, I did.
Of course. My only bit of news this week, and I brought it up because it's a little bit pissy, and I thought it was very funny the way it came up. Destiny are basically bragging that they've averaged over 3 million players a day since launch.
Yes.
Sounds really good. I would argue that the game itself forces players to stop playing after a few hours because then you want to come back tomorrow and do all the daily stuff. So saying, oh, each day we've had over 3 million players when your game is built to stop players really getting the most after about over 2 hours of gameplay. Yeah, that stat doesn't really resonate that well with me, even though I am enjoying the game.
That's its week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Destiny is getting so smashed that, like, Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Yeah.
They've got a launch trailer which actually pokes fun at Destiny.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Seriously, go on. What was it? GameSpot. It's on there. It's actually pretty fucking funny.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
I'm really disappointed at Destiny. I was actually planning to do a vlog on this at one point, but I mean, I haven't played Destiny, but just from like talking to you guys and talking to other people that have played it, the only thing it's got going for it is like a decent fighting and shooting mechanic, and like an okay leveling up system and decent visuals. Everything else in it just falls flat. And for a game from Bungie of all developers, the developers that gave us fucking Halo and the massive universe that is set in, like that spawned a web series that you can now watch on fucking Netflix, because it's that popular. Like, to give us a game that has so little story in it is really bad. And I don't want to slam on Bungie here because I know they can do better, and I know it might have been a corporate decision from...
I guarantee you Activision ripped that game apart. I guarantee you.
Just tease them with the story, and then we can release the rest of it as DLC and make more money. I mean, I honestly think like kind of some of the people at Bungie turned around and went, well, no, that's kind of a kick in the teeth to the players, because they actually have like a few people, like a few characters in the game, and I've seen teaser trailers of this, of a character going, oh, I can tell you what you need to know, but I won't.
Yeah. There's two characters that do that.
Yeah, it's just
like, there's no time to explain.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Bungie, couldn't you just like sneaked a bit past the developers? Maybe you did like past the corporate people. Maybe not show them the part of the game that has the story in. Just go, oh look, a flying money pig, and it just goes.
Well, I'm reviewing Destiny next week, just to give that spoiler out there now. And while some people like dig on it really hard, and I'm going to next week, I'm going to dig on it hard because I think they made some pretty glaring things. Sometimes people take that a bit too far. It is a 7 out of 10 game. Yeah. I agree. But some people, like, they go, oh, it wasn't like the 10 out of 10 I suppose, so it's immediately a 0 out of 10. And some people just get a little bit too, like, I'm still playing it to this day, but there are some glaring faults with it, which I'll go through more in detail next week.
Do that who go, like, straight to the 0 just because it wasn't what they expected. They are idiots.
They annoy
and anyone who does that, if you are listening, I don't care if I get backlash for this, you are an idiot.
Yeah. No, I fully agree.
It is stupid. It's like okay, maybe the game wasn't what you were expecting. I expected more out of Dead Space 3. I thought it was a bit of a failure in the Dead Space series. Doesn't mean to say it was a bad game.
It wasn't a 0 out of 10.
You're going to go 0.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to.
Hissy fit.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't how I wanted. It's worthless now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
we're
the
not
wrong
saying,
colour.
Yeah, we're not saying Destiny's an absolute failure. We're just saying that it has its bad points, and we did expect more of it because obviously it was made by a game developer that is known for quality material.
I would say a developer that has pedigree. I would definitely say that.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah, and we did expect more from them. We didn't get it, but it does have its good points. It is visually stunning. It looks really nice. I mean, like, you can't fault them for that.
It's one of the best visual games I've ever played.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely amazing. Yeah. I mean, like you can get lost just looking at the scenery and stuff. I mean, and like the combat mechanic is good. It's like they managed to maintain the Borderlands feel of the shooting mechanic with some added extra bits thrown into it as well. Like, fair enough, there isn't a lot of customization in it, but you'd expect in an MMO a little bit of like a deeper customization option.
Oh yeah.
But apparently it's not really that big. There's like 4 races and like 4 different skins, and that's about it.
There's 3 races, 3 classes, and the skins aren't that crazy. Except if you go, which is what I've done, and you go for like one of the actual factions, but you have to grind big time to get that stuff.
Yeah.
So
And your character never takes its helmet off anyway, in like any way, shape or form. So it's kind of pointless anyway.
Yeah.
But,
Cutscenes that you can see and the tower.
yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just like it's not a failure as a game. It's just not what we expected. And I think people who go on like sites and rate it at 0 are fucking idiots.
Like, just about the whole rating things as 0 stuff, people know who they've listened to this podcast. We fucking hate Call of Duty. We're just saying that out right now. Like, I used to play Call of Duty a lot, but we all as generalization, we dislike Call of Duty. Do I think
Yes.
any Call of Duty game is a less than 0 out of 5 game? No.
No.
It's very least a 5 out of 10. At very, very least. You
Yeah.
know, it's an operational game, and I can understand why some people would like. I just don't, you know. And although I really dislike the game, I just get really annoyed when people do that, and it's like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Except for games like Ride to Hell, which is offensive. That deserves a 0.
That deserves everything.
That's not a game. We can't even talk about that. That's not even a game.
That's just an abomination.
It doesn't belong on this podcast, damn it. It's not a game.
I cast thee out, right to hell.
Well, I mean, from like the same point of view as well, it's like you don't like COD. I don't really like sports games in any way, shape, or form. Like I think the last sports game I played was like one of the really old wrestling games. This shows you how old it is. Tony, you used to live on the old Dean when I last played a sports game. When we used to go around your house and like play custom matches on WWE.
Oh, it was SmackDown Here Comes the Pain.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
That was epic. My character always had a gigantic nose because you're all bastards. and like that was the last sports game I played. And like I do occasionally test them if like they've got like one of those like free play like trial things they sometimes have in game shops where they've got like a console hooked up and you can play it for like 10 minutes. So I do occasionally do that just to see how it plays. Every year it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Every single year, every single sports game is exactly the same as every other single sports game ever fucking released. It's just got a different number on the box and the graphics are just slightly, ever so slightly better. Just ever so slightly. Some of the even newer games are worse than some of the older games. And that's just absolute bullshit. It's just like it's just a product churned out to force down the throat of people who like the game. You like football? Have a football game.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
You know what's really
It's
bad
not
right
in the
here is
game,
that
it's in your face.
I feel like it's directed at me because I like sports games.
Well,
Like really, I really like sports games.
I mean, it just pisses me off. I mean, okay, WWE, I can understand. That's actually fun to play because it's like, I'll beat shit out of you. I don't fucking like your face. And you can make up your own characters and stuff, and it's really fun to play with your friends. But football games? Why? I don't understand football games. I just don't see how it's fun to sit there and play the same game over and over and over. And over.
One of these weeks, I'm going to review FIFA.
And
I will try and explain why I like it.
And you will reach no one.
Yeah.
Oh no, I tell you a lie. I have actually played a FIFA game a few years back. I stayed over at someone's house and I couldn't sleep, so I fired up their Xbox and they had FIFA in the machine. I thought, I haven't played a football game in ages. I'll give it a go. Like, I decided to launch up one of the cups. Like I think it was like the World FIFA Cup or something. I don't know
FA
which
Cup
one it was.
likely, yeah.
It's the meaningless trophy.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. Meaningless trophy number 2. And like I was sitting there playing it for hours. Like, I am bored out of my fucking mind. I have played game after game. I'm smashing the shit out of the Xbox. I turned the difficulty up to like the hardest difficulty. I was still smashing the shit out of it. I'm like, how is this fun? This is not challenging in any way. The computer is predictable as shit. It's like, this is horrible. I tried the multiplayer and I beat one guy and he went on like a 5-minute rant at me. It's like, oh fuck this. I'm gonna put in Ratchet and Clank. Fuck it.
You know what's ironic? I'm wearing a football shirt right now. Anyway, I'm glad that you got that you spoke in length about that, Chris, because now it's Guild Wars 2, and I know you're a complete noob.
Yeah.
In fact, like so noob you don't even own a copy of the game.
Ooh.
No, I don't.
There we are. So this is our main meat and bones of the podcast, the Guild Wars 2 chat. As I said there at the beginning of the podcast, excuse me. That old podcast-related injury is trying to get back to me. It's not. We've got the first thing here. We're going to explain what character we play and how many hours we've played. And you'll see here we've got a big spectrum of different hours played and stuff like that. And I have a list of things and talking points that we talk about in terms of the game. And I've told our two noobs to ask as many questions that they like, so because that way people that are listening, if you're new to Guild Wars 2, that way they're going to help you know what the hell we're talking about. So, like, if I go off on a tangent, which I will do, I apologise now.
Yeah, which is bound to happen.
Then they're going to call me up on it, and I'll try and explain the best I can.
Well, I've played like other MMOs before, so like I'll probably be asking questions like how it compares to other MMOs.
Yeah, and I'm more than happy to explain because I've played them as well, so I know. I'm not going to go, oh, it's just stupid. That doesn't even compare. Not even explain why. I know reason why.
That is inferior.
Yeah. Which the fanboy in me wants to do, but I'll be professional here on the podcast.
Wait. Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
There we
For
go.
people that don't know, I'm looking out my kitchen window now, and I can see the World of Warcraft European base.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, to be such a Guild Wars fan and see so many Blizzard guys, I feel like the lone one out. So, in fact, I once went to a midnight screening of the new Transformers, not the newest Transformers movie, but one of the new Transformers movies that came out years and years and years ago, when I first moved here. And because it was a midnight screening, and obviously all the people from Blizzard stopped finishing work, I guess me and my wife were the only people there that didn't work for Blizzard. So I was looking around like I'm in like enemy territory, But
You should have waited for like a really quiet moment in the film. You should have waited for like a really quiet moment in the film, and you go, Warcraft's got a bit expensive recently.
Or just shout out, "Fuck Azeroth!" Just like people go mental at me.
Pandaria, Kung Fu Panda wannabe.
Yeah, I just let the hate flow. So yeah, Guild Wars 2. It is the game that I've played the most of in my life. Mm-hmm. We're going to go to how many hours we've played and classes that we play. I have played over 2,200 hours of Guild Wars 2.
Oh, Jesus.
That coupled with the 1,000 hours that I've played of Guild Wars 1, that makes for, in the Guild Wars series, I've played over 3,300 hours of Guild Wars.
Yeah.
God damn.
That is a lot of time. I know people have played more, so people go, oh, listen, you're a fucking noob. You only get good once you get 3,000 hours. No, that's more than enough. I'm still playing now. I would be playing it more, but my laptop's having issues and I can't play it without it shutting down. Hopefully I'll get sorted out tomorrow. I play a female Norn Guardian, who I have played personally for over 1,000 hours just on her. Matt, what have you played? How many hours have you played and what's your main character?
Total runtime is sitting in the 900-hour mark. So I'm probably on about 1,100 hours total, including Guild Wars 1.
Yeah.
Primary character is Marsana Crothenbane, a Char warrior.
Char, for you, if you guys don't know. See, I'm going to be getting into it, the noobs now, right? This is awesome, right? We're going to explain the race.
Protagonist in the first one, so I had to make a Char.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. The Char, basically massive, hulking, feline creatures, beasts is probably the better word.
Yeah.
And they were the bad guys in the first game, but you get to play them now as good guys, technically, in Guild Wars 2. Norn are basically 9-foot-high humans.
Yes.
Who are basically rangers and what's a race outside of Guild Wars that would explain them best, Matt?
Nords from Skyrim.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah, in a way that they're very.
I wouldn't say sort of there because they're very much like of the wolf, and we sit and we feast and drink ale and things like that, and they are like that.
Yeah, fair enough. So Tom, you have played Guild Wars. What is your hours and what is your main character?
I played a little bit, not as much as you guys. I think I vary in the 20 to 30 hour region. I don't play extensively like you guys.
Yeah.
My main character, Takas Barakas. Oh God, what's the species?
Sylvari. You're Sylvari.
Sylvari. Thank you. Always escapes my mind. Shows how well I play this. Yeah.
A member
Shows
of the
how good I
tree
am.
people.
Yeah.
The green people, the tree people, with sap for blood and all that. Yeah, my name is actually Latin for yew tree because my character is a necromancer. And of course, most people know that the yew tree is known as the graveyard tree.
Ooh.
Nerd.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know this about your character.
When you create a character that you're going to spend hours on, you need a decent name and something fun about it, or else you're just like, yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, I always get annoyed when I see characters it's like you bad, and it's like in text talk, and I'm like, really? You wanted to spend like hundreds of hours behind a character with text talk, really?
Yeah, or like pro MLG yo.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's just really annoying. So Chris, how many hours have you played, and what class do you play?
I've done like 500 hours. I play a predator.
Yeah.
I go around hunting. I'm an admin.
Yeah. Oh wow, very very cool.
I have the god finger. I use it liberally, even though it's taboo.
Yeah, that's it. And Haley,
Sword of 1,000 truths.
Sword of 1,000 truths. Haley, how many hours have you played, and what class do you play?
How do you do less than 1 hour?
0.
I remember I was a Sylvani and
Sylvari.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And I was the equivalent for a red mage. Final Fantasy talk. Sorry.
Okay.
You were an elemental.
Yeah, that's it. And then Tony told me off and said, "Don't do that. That's really annoying because then it's really hard the first time out." And then I got a massive lecture from Tony.
Oh,
People,
pro lecture.
If you ask for Tony's help, expect a massive lecture.
Take notes.
Yeah.
With stats and pie charts.
Apologies. I told you to be Guardian, which is by far the best class in the game. But we're going to get into classes. Oh, yeah, I know Matt's getting ready. He's getting ready to defend it. I know if Morgan was here as well, he'd be like going mental right now.
Yeah.
Start, Morgan.
Yeah. So that. Just to explain what Guild Wars is before we carry on, so you know who we are, what characters that we have, and everything along those lines, right? And how much time we spent in the game. Guild Wars 2 is an MMORPG. MMORPG. And is a persistent world game that famously probably gets got it most notoriety in Guild Wars 1 is that it's a game without subscription fees.
Notoriety. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's good notoriety. You got fame, for it. In Guild Wars 2, it got fame because it famously ditched quests. There are no legitimate quests in the game at all, and it has a much more intricate system of events. So basically, when you go out into the world, instead of clicking on a guy that's got a exclamation mark on his head and then going, "Go kill these centaurs that are apparently destroying this farm," you go off and they're just centaurs standing in a farm. You go kill as many as it tells you in the quest, go back to the guy. In Guild Wars 2, there's actually an event where the centaurs are legitimately sacking the farm, that you can actually watch it happen and not do anything if you want. You go and stop them do it. You can probably go in halfway. You might get there towards the end and you can't do enough to save the farm. But then it cascades out, so because you haven't saved the farm, in 5 minutes' time it might come up that the local authorities have amassed strength and they're going to try and retake it. So it's a different event that spawns.
Or the centaurs now have a foothold in this area and now they're moving out into the other places.
Yeah, that's it. So it's now they've taken the farm, the centaurs might be, okay, you know what, we're going to take the water system, and they might try and poison that, and you have to go defend that before you can retake the farm. It basically cascades out. And it's not as simple as, oh, they've taken this. Sometimes it will be the centaurs, which you've taken this as an example, the centaurs took over the water area, right? So instead of events of them just constantly attacking place, you might have to go to a farm and manually grab buckets of water and help the farm grow the stuff, and that's an event. So it's different things. It's not always fighting, so it keeps it quite fresh. Yeah. It's a game that's been out for 2 years. Quite recently, it had its 2-year anniversary. There's some issues with it for being out of 2 years, and I'm going to explain that later on in terms of expansions and the living story later on. But it is a big-ass world, and it's
definitely.
I would state to even get through your personal story, you'd need about 200 hours of playtime, which is good value, I think, for the money that you can pick the game up for now. There's 3 big ways to play the game. I think it splits it up into 3. You've got PvE, which is the general you playing the game, you learning the game, completing your own personal story, and we'll go into the reasons why I think the personal story is good and bad. The personal story, you go and do dungeons, you can do world events, you can go battle dragons, which is pretty damn cool. You can go exploring, do jumping puzzles, all this awesome stuff, And I will state out there, I've played a lot of MMOs, Guild Wars 2 out flat has the best maps in any MMO I've ever played. The fact that I had to go back to maps that I thought I had cleared because they had more secrets and I just hadn't found them is fantastic. And it's really awesome that you go back and you find these mini dungeons that you never knew were there and you must have run past them hundreds of times. But because you didn't look right and you didn't really go looking for them, you missed them, but you go back and you're like, wow, this is awesome.
That's
part
it.
Of the game.
It's actually sneakily hidden behind that tree over there.
Yeah. So it definitely is an explorer's game. The fact that you go into new maps and there's like a checklist, vistas, skill points. There's a bunch of stuff for you to do in order to level up your character, and it's a very rewarding game. So that's PvE in a nutshell. I'll go into more details. I'm just overviewing it now. You have World versus World, which I think Chris would fucking love if he had the game and had a PC that can hack it.
Yeah.
World versus World. It consists of 3 servers battling it out over 4 maps for superiority. And when I say servers, I do actually mean full-on servers. So you can have battles of 100 versus 100 versus 100.
Oh, nice.
And basically, you might even have it so you've got like 5 people defending a keep against 100 people. But if those 5 people work well, you can stop those people getting in. It's really interesting and intricate.
With the dropping of siege and things like that.
Yeah, it's all-out warfare. There is some things wrong with it, but as I said, I go anything wrong there. But I do love World versus World. It's pretty awesome, and a lot of games have ripped World versus World off of Guild Wars 2. In fact, what was the game that did it most recently that failed?
Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls. There you go. Yeah, they mucked that up. So, and then they have standard PvP, which is more along the lines of 5 against 5, or they've got different varying things that you can fight on there. Team deathmatch and capture the point, conquest, it's a lot. It's built up a lot the same that multiplayer is in games that you would not expect in an MMO. So I'll go into different reasons why. That is it. So they're the 3 core pillars of Guild Wars 2, and you could probably sink a lot of time into each of them, which I have. So there you go. So, before I carry on, is there any questions of that you guys might want to ask before I continue?
No, it makes perfect sense to me.
No?
Yeah.
Cool. The one thing that would set Guild Wars 2 apart from the majority of it is, for people that haven't played the game, what would you associate combat in an MMO would be? Just tell me now, what would you think?
Like grindy, like what? 3 animation action moves that occasionally vary if you use a special ability.
Yeah, like World of Warcraft, you're standing there, you're basically trading blows, standing there waiting for your cooldowns to go up and down, right? I think anyone that's played Guild Wars 2 can state that that's pretty boring.
None of that.
Yeah, and there's none of that in Guild Wars 2. I can't go back and play World of Warcraft or even Guild Wars 1 after playing Guild Wars 2.
Ruined you for other games.
Yeah, it ruined me because it showed me a far better system. That basically Guild Wars 2 has a system where you can, I find it really annoying sitting in front of enemies and just like getting hit and waiting for your cooldowns, and you guys just stand there for ages and then every 5 seconds move his sword. In Guild Wars 2, you can dodge, you can move, you can go around the back of your opponent. A lot of your actual weapon skills will move you across. Like Thief is like moves you all over that bloody place.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So your actual placement in battle is immensely important, and like it makes it so when you're fighting some of the bigger bosses, you need to watch where you stand. There's a boss. Matt, have you fought my Trin in Fractals?
Yes.
Yes.
Is Mitrin the big eel?
No.
Which one was Mitrin?
Mitrin and Horik is the one where like they fire loads of cannons off in the middle of the battle and you've got to dodge them.
Yeah.
Right. So you know what I'm talking about here. But
yeah.
I'll go into all the different things I just said, right? But there's a battle in Guild Wars 2 in one of the mini dungeons that you can do. That basically it fires off loads of cannons and you've got to keep moving and dodging different cannon attacks. And I mean half the room is like blanketed in cannon fire. And it's pretty brutal. Like if you get hit by 2 in a row, you're done. You're dead. So it like really highlights the fact that this game, like, it's either you move or you die. Like, you have to be quick, you have to keep moving around the battlefield. So it's a lot more involving that you're not just standing there and just tapping the one button. Here you're double tapping buttons to quickly evade out of attacks, and telegraph, especially in PvP. That's the most the biggest thing about that.
Because I found that in World of Warcraft. I used to play World of Warcraft a lot actually, and it's got too expensive. I gave up on it, but Yeah, like I'd find that like most of the quests would consider of go here, kill X amount of designated creature, come back for shitty reward. Do that 5 times. It's like ugh.
Yeah.
And then the combat you just like target with the mouse and you could just like sit back, tap in with one finger on your like kind of on your powers and then wait for the cooldown and you'll go just be like
Yeah.
I mean, there's another thing that I quite like with regards to the cooldown with Guild Wars 2, and Tony will sort of agree with this. You carry 2 weapons, like you have 2 weapon slots.
Yeah.
And if you get it right, once you learn your abilities, like my warrior has a greatsword, and then I switch weapon skills and he has a sword and an axe. And I can cycle between those by the time like the regens. So you got to wait for the cooldown for your weapon change. But by the time I've gone through my cycle of like different varying attacks, I can switch back and then I carry on the cycle again.
Yeah, like once you
But
get
always
good,
constant.
Yeah, once you get good at your class, which you are with your warrior, obviously, as you say there, like you find the best way to keep using your skills. You get the optimal way of doing it.
Yeah.
And that means that constantly you've got your skills changing because you're changing your weapons all the time. It's pretty awesome. Well, that's one thing about the weapon system in Guild Wars 2 is that your skills, your first 5 skills are tied to your weapon.
All right.
Yeah.
So like in World of Warcraft, that's the biggest MMO of all time, even over Guild
outside
Wars.
of nothing.
You know, factual, right? So that's the one that we're going to compare it to. That's the biggest one out there, right? In World of Warcraft, you pick up, let's say, a spear, and a lot of your skills will still work with that spear, right? So you're still using the same skills, that it's not like this skill is a hammer skill. This is a skill that you use regardless of what weapon that you have. There's a lot of skills in World of Warcraft that have that. In Guild Wars, you can't use the same skill on a different weapon because there's a completely different skill set. And so, like, you might pick up an axe. It gives you 3 skills that you can use with it because it's a one-handed weapon. And then you might pick up a sword, and it gives you 2 other skills at the end of it. So you've got 5 different skills. But if you swap your sword and your axe into different hands, you get 5 completely new different skills.
Yeah.
Because they're in different hands.
Yeah.
Because the 4 and 5 of you using it as an offhand are completely different from the 2 and 3. If you had it as your main hand, like 1 is attack.
Yeah.
That's simple enough. Then sometimes it changes up on little things, but it's a completely different way around. Like just change hands and change styles completely.
Yeah, like you could technically have the same weapons, but putting them in different hands can completely change not only the skills you have, but the way you need to play them. It's pretty massive if you think of it that way, And Elementalist, that's the reason why I said to Haley that Elementalist was a pretty bad class to start off with, is because they have that times 4.
Yeah,
because they've got 4 attunements. And that's for each weapon. So like you can have like one weapon that gives you 5 skills. Like one weapon gives you 20 skills with an elementalist. Yeah. Then you switch to another weapon, it gives you another 20 skills that you can switch on the fly. And it takes a lot of time to get used to it. Like Morgan, who plays Ellie for the guild, it took him like months
to really
switch weapons? Nail down. Ellie's don't have the ability to in the middle of battle, because obviously they would be so overpowered if they did.
Yeah.
But they still have different skills. So like once you're in the middle of battles, you can change over your weapon, have a completely different set.
The thing I did enjoy, like I played Ellie for a while, the thing I enjoyed is like you can go all out with like fire and earth and things like that, and just sort of like beat the hell, and then suddenly you realise the team's sort of really struggling. You switch to water, and water switches into your healing skills.
Yeah. There are some damaging ones there, but its majority is healing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Guys, how easy is it for someone who's starting out, as in to learn how to do all these different things? Because I remember trying to get on with the battling system when I started, and I just didn't understand it. There were no instructions with it.
Well, now they've changed it since you've played. I know you only played recently, but they have actually did a massive patch which changed the entirety of the opening of the game.
Oh, okay.
Now there actually is a part where it actually tells you where you need to go to level up next and stuff like that. But I do know what you mean. Yeah, it can get tricky, for especially people that don't, in the majority, play MMOs. I would say categorically, though, that this, compared to a game like World of Warcraft, Guild Wars is the easiest game to get into. in terms of MMO. It's the most forgiving at early stages of the game.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I would say
Do you
that.
not-
I'd say
do
that
you not
categorically.
recall you, me, and Tom running around the plains of Ascalon, like the opening area for the Char? But if you get too far away, like you start off and like by the time you go into the opening world, you're like a level 3. You know, off into the big old world. But if you get too far, like you're still in the plains of Ashford, but you're like right in the corner, and by that point you're in level 12 area.
Oh yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, sometimes it is a little, but like when you look at the other starting areas, it's not like that. Like the Sylvari starting area and the Asura starting area are so easy to play.
Still remember that lad who was suffering though?
That's it. That's the only reason I give that example.
Yeah, no.
It's like, can you help me finish this event? You're like 7 levels out of your depth here, boy.
Yeah. Well, that's why they
not even be here.
like with the thing that they added in now is that, like I said, there's actually like a compass that will direct you towards things closer to your level. The only thing I say about that is that I don't know if that's fixed. But when I started a new player recently, it tried to take me into a level 50 area as a level 2. So maybe that they need to patch that a little bit, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to do anything there as a level 2, really. But
it's like, hello, big wide whack.
hello, Etin. Oh, I'm dead.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what button is it? Oh, it's just Gigi just jumping around in circles. Like everyone's like, oh fuck's sake. Even the bots is standing there going, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah. It's a bit embarrassing when you walk up as like a level 2 to a level 50, tiny little ooze doesn't look like it can hit you, and suddenly it just spits something and it insta kills you. It's a little bit
Oh
embarrassing.
god, it burns!
But one of the things they've
That body.
changed. Yeah, one of the things they've changed with the opening of the game is that now you level up a lot quicker. So you get to like level 10 very quick. And by level 10, that's 3/4, over, almost about 3/4 of your opening map that's available to you. You know?
After you hit level 10, though, does it then take like fucking ages of grinding to get to like higher levels?
No.
Or do you find that, the enemies get difficult enough so that it's not a grind to get to the next level and it doesn't take as long?
The one thing that I would say, right, this comes in two things. First of all, I'm going to say that leveling in Guild Wars 2, far better than any other game out there, right? It has a flat level cap. So when you go back to areas that are maybe lower level than you, because you might want to explore, because a big theme of Guild Wars 2 is exploration, going out on your own and finding things. When you get leveled down, because it will level you down to the, like, let's say I'm a level 80 and I go into an area that Tom's at, which is level 5 area, right? It will level me down to level 5. So like things are still, I say challenging, but it doesn't take into account your gear, so I'll still be one-hit killing stuff. But what it will do is that when I kill something, or I hit something, because you, like in World of Warcraft, if you hit something first, you're the only one that will get XP from it. In Guild Wars 2, you could look at it, basically, do like a status effect on it, and not contribute at all to its death, and you'll get XP. You, as long as you're around, and you at least acknowledge it's there and at least like touch it, sort of thing, or even get attacked by it. That counts as you being part of that fight, and you'll get XP. But when you get XP, you don't get XP that's level 5 XP. You get XP that's level 80 XP because I'm level 80. So it all goes. So even though I've leveled down to level 5, because it still takes into account your level. So that means when you're level 50 and you think, you know what, I really like the idea of going to this level like 25 area, but it's not going to do anything good for me. I'm not going to level up, and I really want to get up to level 80. That's completely out the window. You will level up the same there as you would in an area that's closer to your level.
Oh, okay, that's handy. So you don't get like if you go back to a previous area, you won't get like 10 XP. But you really need like 100 XP, say. No. You'll get the 100 XP.
You'll get,
in a lower area.
Like, for instance, like it takes about 250,000 XP to level up as a level 80, which basically gets you another skill point, right?
Yeah.
So Tom might kill something in a level 5 area and get 8 XP, and you think 8 XP to me is going to be useless. I might get 800 XP. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm a higher level. So it goes relative to that. The one thing I will say, though, negative towards that is that I've had to tell a lot of people that start the game, since they changed it, I know now you level up to level 10 very, very quickly. But when they start the game, a lot of people were going around, they were doing stuff in the early part of the game, and they realised they kind of hit a wall where they couldn't go any further without actually grinding, and Guild Wars 2 is very against grinding. And I said to a lot of people, what you can do is you can go to other areas, starting areas, and basically you can level up there, and then that way you can kind of do the same. But doing that puts a lot of people off.
Oh, right.
You know, because they're like, well, I want to level in my starting area, not in the Char's starting area or the Asura's, whatever class you're not. But they have changed it now, so now you can level up very, very quickly, quickly, early levels. And once you've done that, then once you're up to level 15, you've got 4 extra maps you can check out. You know, and then you'll be up leveled to that point. But I agree what you're saying there, though. You know, especially early levels. So there's probably a good reason. I've got a few talking points to go through here. I'll go through the classes.
I have found it in other games. Just talking on that bit a minute.
Yeah.
I have found that in other MMOs, they'll entice you in by making it really easy to level up to level 10. As soon as you hit level 10, getting to level 30 takes you about 20 times as long as it took to get you to level 10, just because there's not progressive XP collecting.
I agree. WoW is really bad for that.
It's so annoying.
Star Wars: The Old Republic, it's got a thing when you reach level 20, if you're not a subscriber, it caps your experience, so you don't earn as much experience as you would if you were paying.
Yeah,
which is a bit
really dog. Yeah, that's really bad.
I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's just a bit. You know?
Yeah. The one thing I say about Guild Wars 2, and I do agree with what you're saying there. Even with Guild Wars 2, with the new thing they put in, you do get to level 10 very quickly, and then, like I said, it takes a little bit longer. But once you get to level 10, getting to 10 to 11 will take you the same amount of time as it would take you getting 79 to 80. The actual amount of experience you need to level up and the amount of stuff. So if you did the same amount of stuff to get from 10 to 11 as you would do 79, you would level up. You know, it's the same. It's the same cap. One really good thing about Guild Wars 2 is literally you can do anything in the game and it will reward your experience. You could explore your home city. If you right now, as the thing as it is, if you're an explorer and you don't want to do any fighting, at least you're at least a few levels high, which I think is a bit stupid anyway, because then you're taking the challenge out of it. But still, if you want to do that, if you fully explore all the home cities in the game which have no enemies in it, it will instantly level you up to level 9. If you do all of the cities, if you just explore them all.
Oh, right.
Level 9, just exploring cities. You know, it's pretty generous.
Yeah.
You can craft. There was a guy who hit level 80 in the game before it launched, because they had a 4-day pre-launch for people that had done the beta and stuff like that. There was a guy who hit level 80, the first guy who hit level 80, and he did it solely by crafting.
Wow.
He never killed one monster.
Wow, that's generous crafting.
Yeah.
Usually you only get a few XP for each thing you craft. That sounds really overly generous.
Yeah.
I mean, now as it is now, I've got a Sylvari Thief similar to Tom now, and I originally just I'm not going to level him up through combat. I will level him up solely through craft. And now you get up to level 20 through crafting. If you hit level 400 in you can have 2 professions at any given time. I hit level 400 in both professions, and that's level 20.
Yeah. I have to say, with the whole level 80 thing, his guild was giving him resources. So normally you'd have to go out there and find your own resources. But what I'm saying is that using crafting as something on the side as you leveling, which you should be doing anyway. It's very, very generous how
it's a great way. It's a great way to sort of make sure that your gear keeps to your level.
Yeah, and if you're going full on crafting and you make a new character, so someone like me, if I wanted to make a new character, I've got all the crafting disciplines up to 400, so I don't need to do it. But if I wanted to, and I had loads of stuff left over from my first character, because it all carries over to whatever character you want. You could just craft and craft and craft, and before you even leave your home city, you could be like Matt, level 20.
Yeah.
You know, and that way, your whole opening, you're over leveled then for your opening area, which is crazy. So the crafting in it, but like I said, looking at vistas, which is just really pretty views of the map, which you can find in the world, they give you XP. Points of interest that are just points on the map that have that are just worth looking at once. They give you XP. Skill points are hidden in the world, and there's a few of them in each map. They give you a bunch of XP. You've got hearts on the map, which are the closest thing to what the game has to quests, but you don't have to talk to anyone to activate them. You basically go in the area where the heart is, and it gives you a list of tasks that you can do to fill up your bar, and then once you've done it, it gives you a ton of XP. It gives you loads of it. So the amount of stuff you can do to get XP is just crazy. That's just apart from killing mobs, killing enemies.
Wow.
It is Guild Wars 2 is the easiest to level up on. Some people dislike that though because they think sometimes it's too easy
It's like,
to level up.
where's my challenge?
Yeah, it does sound like a little bit too generous. Just like you can like just the fact that you can like walk around and get XP for wandering about. I mean, okay, discovering locations and stuff, that's fine.
Yeah.
But for like just randomly wandering about and just acquiring XP, it just seems like a little bit too generous from my point of view.
It may seem that way, and to some people, what I would say to people is that the leveling is especially from World of Warcraft players, and to me as well, I'm a little bit less put off it because in Guild Wars 1, they only had a level cap of level 20. So once you got to level 20, which was very early, you had no extra levels on that. The rest of the game was strategy, essentially, right? Guild Wars 2, yeah, it's got up to level 80. Now, it will take you time to get to level 80, first time playing it through.
Yeah.
But the game isn't about reaching to level 80. The game, I say, is got a lot of other stuff that you want to do. Like, doing your personal story will take you a lot longer than getting to level 80 will. And that would, if you rush it, yeah, you could probably get it done. But why would you want to rush it? Especially a game like Guild Wars 2, which really promotes exploration.
Yeah.
And there's so much other stuff in the game that's getting to level 80 is basically is slowly getting you into all aspects of what the game can do to you, can give to you. And once you got to level 80, you want to 100% the map. That will take you a lot of hours to do. 100% the entire Tyrian map, which is massive. I'm talking like over 300 hearts, like 700 points of interest. That's a lot of stuff to find, and that's not even counting like I said, the jumping puzzles. There's loads of them in the game, the mini dungeons, all that.
And they are bastards.
The jumping puzzles,
Tremendous fun.
They are fun, but they some.
Oh, they're really worth it at the end. But you're just like, I'm gonna break something in a minute.
I still remember one of the funniest things I watched on your channel was when you did your Guild Wars 2 a long time ago.
Yeah,
and it was like they did like a special Halloween thing.
Oh, the clock tower.
The clock tower jumping puzzle. That was the funniest shit ever. You just raging out about trying to jump up the side of this clock tower, and it took you fucking ages.
The funny thing about that recording is that I did that, and people might think, "Oh wow, he got it really quickly," that he got the thing, that he managed to actually do it. The thing about that is that I actually spent the entire day before that recording trying to do that jumping puzzle, the entire day, and I hadn't managed to do it. So I was like, "Oh come on, just fucking do it!" Excuse me. So, yeah, that's coming back soon. Matt's never done it, so...
I've never completed it, no.
You never completed it. That's my challenge to you, Matt. You've got to complete it this year.
Do they do a lot of things like that? Do they do a lot of, like, seasonal events?
Yeah.
Like Halloween, Christmas. It's an American company, so I guess they do Thanksgiving as well.
They don't, actually.
Oh, do they not?
No.
Oh.
They do Halloween and Christmas every year.
Mm-hmm.
They do April Fools every year.
Yep.
Nice.
Hilariously so. The first year they changed everyone's genders.
What?
This year they made everyone's head about 10 times as large, and they made them bobbleheads.
Nice.
Yep.
Which I now bought the tonic that lets me give that to lots of people whenever I want. So that's awesome.
We do that every time we play Guild Wars now.
Yeah, big head juice. Big head juice.
Big head juice.
Yeah.
Join the cult of the big head.
One of the issues with Guild Wars 2 is the living story, which is their stuff later on. I'm going to go into that more towards the end of our conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like seasonal stuff, it's great because like they'll change Lion's Arch. They'll do a complete reskin of Lion's Arch, which is the home city of the game.
Yeah.
And they will reskin it all. So like instead of having like the Mystic Forge in the game, which is like a place where you fuse items together and get special results and stuff like that, or you can throw in 300 gold like I did and get nothing. But I won't go too much into that. But like that'll get changed into like a cauldron for like Halloween, or like a bunch of like presents or stuff for Christmas.
Yeah.
And they'll have loads of mini games. Like they have like basically Guild Wars 2 Guitar Hero in Christmas. Basically you've got bells and you have to hit them on your keyboard like you're playing keyboard. It is awesome. I love that one. It's great. And because like you're playing with other people, they're doing the other instruments, so it's like Band Hero or whatever, or Rock Band, because everyone's doing different stuff. It's pretty cool. But some of the side stuff they can do for that, and they go all out, are pretty amazing. For someone like me, however, because I've seen it all, and they don't change that much each year. They do change some stuff. Like Halloween, they change more stuff than they do for Christmas. But because I've seen a lot of it already, it's the allure is kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. But like for someone seeing it for the first time, you'd have your mind blown. They go all out for it. It's pretty cool. So yeah, for the seasonal stuff, I haven't seen any seasonal stuff in any other game, so I'm not going to say it's better than any other game. I just know it's pretty cool in Guild Wars 2 anyway. They actually made a mini jumping puzzle for Halloween where if you jump on these like little destroyed bits of ladder, and you manage to get inside of the cauldron, it would basically turn you into a random monster, and you can run around as that monster for like 5 minutes.
Nice.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Because like when it first comes up, you can literally see like hundreds of people trying to get in the cauldron. It's hilarious. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I want to do it.
So let's talk about the classes. I'm just going to go over this quickly just to explain what classes are in the game and what I believe is the best. There's going to be a debate between me and Matt here. I can smell it from 100 miles. So you've got Guardian, which is what I play. You've got Warrior, which is what Matt plays. You've got Necromancer, which is what Tom plays. You've got Elementalist, which is what Morgan plays. You've got Mesmer. You've got Ranger. You've got Engineer, and you've got Thief. They're the 8.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I spattered them off maybe a little bit too well. Maybe I do know this
A bit too
game
easily
well.
there.
Yeah. There are three classes, I believe, are classes that should have like a stamp before you take them and say, this is for players. You may find this a lot harder than the majority of other classes, because Engineer, Elementalist, and Mesmer, you playing them as your first character, you may get a very bad taste of the game because you may think this is actually really hard.
That's what happened to me. I tried Engineer for my first playthrough.
Yeah. It's like Engineer is mind-boggling because you can equip packs which change your entire build, essentially. And it's like, what am I doing now? What am I supposed to do? What does the most damage? It can be very confusing. The two easiest ones to get onto, ironically, are Warrior and Guardian, which are the ones that me and Matt plays. But all classes in the game, bar those 3, are really good to pick, but all classes, regardless, are really good in the end game, apart from Ranger. I'll just
What's
say that.
wrong with Ranger?
Ranger has a problem. Ranger has pets, right?
Yeah.
Which it sounds great, and it is.
Fluffy, don't go over there.
Yeah, you basically said it in a nutshell. What's the problem with Rangers, right? So they have pets, right? And the pets they're pretty awesome for everything outside of dungeons. So when you're going off, and they can basically tank for you. Like if you get a bear, it's got so much tanky health. You basically shoot your enemies with a bow, while the bear stands there just getting hit. Doing its own thing. So it sounds awesome. It's a really good character to use for self-sustainability because you can go and quest on your own, and because you've got your pet there, it's like you're questing with someone else. The amount of...
Especially considering, like, in the game, though, if you take too much damage, you don't die instantly, you just go down. And you have a chance to be healed and res and all things like that. But with a pet, the pet can just res for you.
Yeah, your pet will res you for you, which is amazing.
cool.
It will raise you to such a degree that someone can be attacking you. In PvP, there's actually there's a build that you can make where your pet can raise you at such a rate that 10 people attacking that one person that's down won't be able to kill him.
Nice.
It's mental, it really is. But, so yeah, it sounds great, awesome, and you can actually go and collect different pets. It's like a little bit like Pokemon to a very dumbed down degree. You can go out and find different pets, equip them, you can change them on the fly. It sounds awesome. The problem is in dungeons, a lot of some dungeons, especially in the final dungeon of the game, which is Arar, which is the hardest one. A lot of that game is trying to get through, stealthily trying to get through things. The problem is the pet IA is screwy to the point that you might hide, but your pet decides, you know what, that risen leg of that ancient almighty lord that's level 1 billion, I'll go and chomp on its knees and tell it where we are. And it insta kills your entire team, and it's like, okay.
I see a thing. Yeah. God damn it!
It's got that bad.
No.
It's got that bad of Ranger now that in Arar, if you go in as a Ranger and people don't realise you're a Ranger before they add you, they will kick you instantly from the group.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People will not take Rangers in Arar anymore.
We don't take kindly to you Ranger sorts
Yeah.
around here.
We don't take kindly to your kind here.
And it's
Someone tell me where I can get a good raid. Yeah, back the way you came, boy.
Some dungeons are better than others for that, but most of them are pretty bad for Rangers because the pet just decides, you know what, I'll go. And sometimes you can actually stow your pet, right, so it doesn't appear. but whenever you take damage, your pet will automatically reappear.
Ah.
For certain boss battles, you want your pet to be you want all your people to be really close, packed together. That's the way you get the most amount of damage, because you can give each other buffs and, heal each other on the fly. Especially for guardians like me, very frustrating if you're trying to heal everyone. Everyone's spaced out. It's really hard.
Cough's not too bad for a ranger.
Yeah, Cough's okay, which is 1 dungeon out of the 8.
Yeah.
Like AC and Aura is really hard, right? So they haven't patched it. They haven't done anything to do with Ranger. They know it's an issue. Obviously, they must do. But Rangers, great for everything except for dungeons. And if you try and do dungeons with a Ranger, just no team will take you. I won't take a Ranger in Aura personally because I want to win.
None of you Ranger tabs.
Yeah. And it's really bad because one of our players, Gemma in the guild, her main is a Ranger. She even has a legendary weapon. And I'm saying, let's go do a run. I'm like, wait, I kind of don't want your character in our group.
Yeah.
Can you go bring someone else? It's like, a little bit mad. But...
Oh, look, what's that over there? Quick, go where she's gone.
Yeah. Oh, look at that shiny new pet. Everyone, run into the dungeon quickly. We'll shut it behind us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a bit of a shame. But the classes that I'd say are really hard to begin with. Mesmer is the hardest. Because early game, level 1 to 30, the class has literally no DPS. It takes you ages to kill someone.
Wow.
Ages to kill someone. However...
DPS, for people who aren't aware, is damage per seconds.
Yeah. Thank you for putting that in.
Haley just asked.
If you don't know... Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you don't know that, stop
I'm
listening to a gaming podcast.
The one flip side though to Mesmer is that while it's probably one of the weakest in the early game, it is by far one of the strongest at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Easily, especially in PvP. Mesmer is just overpowered. It's just mental. So it's quite cool then. If with Mesmer, I think it's okay because you dredge through the early hours of the game and then you get rewarded with a really strong build at the end of the game. So you can push through. But here we go. I'm going to state right now, Guardian is the best class in the game. Matt,
just hear that.
Yeah. Now, the reason I think Guardian is the best in the game, I think it's the best support. Matt will agree with me with this, right? It is the best support character class in the game.
By far.
You agree with that, won't you, Matt?
Yes.
I just think it's so versatile, especially with the changes that are made for it, is that it's really good for early players, really strong. One of the only classes that actually gives you regenerating health at the beginning of the game. And I think it...
Warrior does that.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Only if you attach a skill, though, Matt. Only if you attach a skill. Just
okay, you need it as your healing signet, but that's fine.
Yeah. But I just think that, especially with the class I have, which is a really advanced build, for a Guardian.
Your matriarch build.
My matriarch build, which took me a very long time to get working correctly. There's a lot of stuff you can do for Guardian in terms of it's a supporting class, but if you want to do damage, it's got that capability as well. I just think I think it is the best class. Now, a lot of people will disagree. I'm biased because I played Guardian from the very beginning, and I'm still playing it now.
I think Guardian. I will agree with you with the fact that Guardian's survivability.
Yeah. So why do you think Warrior is best? You're wrong, but say.
I think you're wrong to suggest the Guardian. Just because you have an extra couple of 1,000 hours gameplay time, I think you're wrong to suggest Guardian.
Why?
Because why? Why would Guardian be better? The healer. Who wants to be the healer?
I do.
The one who wants to be
I want to get through
everyone.
dungeons, and I want to make sure everyone survives. That's what I want to do.
Healer
But would you not rather be the powerhouse of the team?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do have a warrior, an all berserker warrior, which is the most DPS in the game.
Yeah.
I would pick my
And
Guardian
he
over
would
that.
slaughter anything. Like, I've gone different, because everyone's like, it's all Zerker or nothing, and I'm like, no.
Just before you carry on, Berserker is a stat type in the game which is the most DPS. So if you want most DPS, you have a warrior Berserker. So that's what Matt's alluding to, but carry on.
But as you know, Tony, I don't play that. I play more like a soldier class. I can give the damage, but I can also take it as well, because there's one thing that is really wrong with your warrior, Tony. He's made of glass.
Yeah.
And those panels of glass are held together by dreams and wishes.
And
Yeah.
a little bit of blue tack.
My warrior, right, can deal out on enemies. If I were to crit everything, I could probably get about 30,000 damage, which is abusive. That's a crazy amount of damage.
Yeah.
Considering my guardian on a single hit will probably hit about 500, so that's mad, right?
Yeah.
That being said, I could probably take about 500 damage and die. So, with my warrior, so there's the trade-off. You either get the first hit and you manage to stay not getting damaged, or you die.
You are the glass cannon.
There is no in between.
Don't touch me, I'm fragile.
How about this then, Matt? Though, right? I pose this question to you:
Right.
How would you like to do a Twilight Arbor run without a guardian?
Okay.
Okay.
Just to explain why Guardian's so good in Twilight Arbor, my Guardian can take conditions away from the team.
And Twilight Arbor is full of everything poisonous.
Yes.
Okay.
Poison, 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 poison. And my Guardian's like, nah, fuck it. No poison for anyone.
Okay.
Okay.
For all.
I know we're not going to get. No one's going. You and me are not going to admit that the others are right because we've never been able to do that since we started the game. But you can get a brief glimpse into the arguments that have happened, especially with Morgan around. He will swear to death that an Elementalist is the best class by far in the game. To death.
For DPS.
I just think Ellie. I don't know about Ellie. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there.
I've tried Ellie as well, and I wasn't too keen. So
yeah.
I can agree with you.
Tom, what do you think's the best class in the game?
As I say, I've only got 10 to 30 hours. I'm just happy plodding along with my Necromancer, sitting there with my staff, which turns into a scythe, and throwing out balls of Black Shroud
That
with
is
some
one thing I love
lurking
about
thing over my
Necros.
shoulder.
Yeah. So essentially, you're saying Guardian. So we'll move on. And
I do enjoy the fact that Necromancer, you get this little stat which what's it? I can't remember really what it's called. I'm still learning the whole ins and outs.
Explain it.
Basically, the more you kill, you get your soul bar. Let's call it your soul bar.
Your death
You get,
shroud.
the souls of your enemies put in there, and you can use that as energy to go into a black shroud of death, which turns you into a shadow monster, which turns you. Is it invulnerable? Well, near invulnerable for a while until it runs out.
It basically gives you a
that.
second life bar.
It's my second life bar after a while.
Which is incredibly powerful.
I think, Tony, you and me could both comment on Necros, considering we both have quite high we both have 80 Necros.
Yeah. Necros are awesome. They are good. I'm not going to say that.
And
cheers for that recommendation.
World Masters.
Huh?
And Masters of World v World.
They are, yeah. You'll go...
It's like, big old group of you. Wells.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah, you just stick a couple of wells down, get all that loot, or even just running through a Zerg. You could, like you said there, Tom, you go into your death shroud, and it's like, why is this guy not dying? It's like, no, I have the souls of all.
Skill 3,
Yeah,
Salt.
I'm sorry, I lost myself there.
It's like big group, soul, like sort of death shroud. Skill 3, draw essence for everyone.
Yeah.
So like everyone around you's like, we're dying, and you're just like, ha 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 ha, eating on their energies.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've got a question.
Sustain me.
I've got a question for our noobs here. Okay, what kind of I know that you've played World of Warcraft, Chris. I don't think you've played any other MMO, have you, Hayley?
No, I don't
okay.
do MMO.
In terms of races, what kind of race do you want? Do you want to go for a regular plain old human, or do you want something a little bit more cute? Do you want something a bit more beastie? What kind of race in a game would you want to be?
Oh, see,
Don't insult me, sir.
Huh?
Yeah, well, I'm quite bad for this because what I'll do when I start an MMO is I'll start a character on like every race, and then I'll chop and change between them as the mood takes me.
Yeah,
but near enough, all of them will be exactly the same class.
Oh, okay.
I suck at
Now,
healing.
this is the thing. Like knowing you, Chris. Like when we did the whole, we're gonna have this guild picture of like members in Guild Wars 2, and I was like, Chris would be a Norn.
Yeah.
Sort of like big braided beard, and just sort of like killed and slain the greatest beast, and we will drink to the victory.
Well, I suck at healing. I suck at magic. I suck at range.
So whack
but
it.
Really good at melee.
So yeah, essentially a Norn warrior for you,
like,
Chris.
ooh, an enemy.
Yeah.
What about?
Sir, I want to hit it with my sword.
Yeah. What about you, Haley? What kind of what kind of character would you want to make? Like,
Well-
I know you've made one, but is Sylvari what you wanted to make, or is it a different class that you wanted to do?
I don't know, because I mean, thinking on my experience of games, so like fantasy games where you get where you have RPGs, you can choose what class you can play. I think I tend to go more for melee again as well, same as Chris.
Yeah.
If in doubt, twat it.
It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's
One-
like,
Wang.
it's just when you're doing magic, you have to cast it and stand back, and it
Oh,
has
don't
its
touch me!
It has its benefits, but at the same time, it's easier just to go up to its face and twat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yep, fair enough.
One of the
Yeah.
best
There's-
things in the
there's-
game.
There's not really that much lessons, is it? It's just the pointy end goes into the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't do healing because, like I hate it when other people act stupid and I have to heal them.
Oh, here's the thing. Right.
And there have been times where I have been kicked from World of Warcraft raids because I refuse to heal someone because they're being an idiot. They're like, dude, heal me. Why aren't you healing me? Because you're being a fucking idiot. That's why. You don't deserve to be healed.
That's it.
Die.
I'm just letting Darwin work here, mate. Nothing against you. I just think Darwin needs to be right here.
Here's the thing, the reason why you would love Guild Wars 2. I've made it seem as if I'm a monk character.
Yeah.
Guardians aren't monk. There isn't a monk in Guild Wars 2. Your healing is down to yourself. If you die, it's your fault.
Yeah.
So, like, the reason why I have a healing build because I choose to go that path, but it doesn't mean that a Guardian goes into like a group and they automatically say you're the healer. If we die, it's your fault. It's not like that. In Guild Wars 2, there is no monk. All healing is down to you. You have your own heal skills. You know, it's all down to the way that you play it. Now, because I play a lot, you know, with Matt, who's like, you know, he's more on the DPS side, even though he's got a little bit of tank in him. But also with Morgan, he's ultra DPS. He's just as bad as Auron. You know, my warrior. Like, he can get hit really quickly and die. So I chose a build that best supplements them. But it doesn't mean that you, like, if you were to make a Guardian, which is the best healing class in the game, but it's not a monk, like, people aren't going to expect you to save them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know exactly what you mean. Like,
It's not a healing class; it's a buff class.
It's a support class, but people don't expect you to save them. It's just pretty cool that I can. You know what I mean? Like, with my skills. And one of the best things in the game, though, I know you said about melee and having big Norns. Having a Sora, I haven't told you guys what a Sora is. And a Sora is a tiny, probably no bigger than the size of half of my leg. You know, up to my knee, right?
The size of your daughter.
The size, yeah.
I was gonna say, son of your child.
Yeah. Actually, if I were to meet an Asura, I think they'll probably be smaller than Catherine. So
No.
maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're tiny regardless, right? And you can get Asura warriors that have these big fuck off greatswords. And you like the idea of like an Asura like warrior, this tiny little thing with this greatsword that looks bigger than himself, running towards like a big like massive big ass dragon. Just
Question: Is it like Is it like Cloud and his Buster Sword?
Yeah.
you can
It's
get
almost exactly like that.
yeah. In terms of skins in the game, you can get a lot of skins in the game, and some of them do look. You know, they
Very
go a
Final
little bit
Fantasy.
like that. Yeah. Some of the Char ones look a little bit like that, don't they, Matt?
What? A bit busterish.
A bit Busterish, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Some of the Char ones.
Because with Char, it's not. We don't want to make it look good. We want to make it work.
Yeah.
Practicality.
Practicality, yeah. That's why Matt likes the Char, because they're all about like
They're a military race.
They're a military
They're
race.
essentially just like the way we do this is we form the legions.
Yeah, that there's no such profession in the Char lifestyle that is outside of being military. If you're like a farmer, you're considered a failure, and that's like a really bad thing. If you're a
So
farmer.
who is actually the farmers? Where do they get the food from?
No, they do have farmers, but they're considered failures.
They're like a lesser part of society.
Oh,
Yeah, but someone's
Haley,
got to make the food.
you would love the
There's
Char.
no honour in growing
Here's the thing,
carrots.
no, Haley, you would love the Char, right? The Char are the ones that treat their women with the most respect in the game,
Yeah.
by far.
Everything-
Basically, their women are treated identically to the men in the sense that more of the generals of their army are women more than men.
It's true.
So there you are. Just
I
saying
think we
that.
know what her next class is going to be. Am I going to be a plant person? No, I'm going to be a giant cat
Yeah.
with horns and paws that can crush a man's skull like a beer can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like their main enemy, the Flame Legion. One of the reasons why they hate the Flame Legion this is only a small reason why they hate them. There's a much bigger, but part of the reason anyway is because they don't allow women into their military. That's part of the reason why they fight them. So the Char are all for gender equality. I know we've talked about that a lot, so I just thought you might like that anyway. So, right, let's move on to the 3 core pillars. We spent way loads of time just talking about general points, but this should go pretty quickly here. So I said the game is really good for exploration. I'm going to state this now. I have mentored a lot of people in this game. I mentored basically all the kittens in the early stages.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a lot of people that I've mentored. I'm going to state right here now, I need to make this go out better. I feel that me mentoring players, I'm not going to do it anymore. And the reason I'm doing so is because I want them to have the same experience that I had when I first started the game. Which is I was like discovering everything myself. Because I find that when as Tom, as you say, sometimes I got information overload and it makes you seem that the game is like way more complicated than it actually is at that part of the game. You know what I mean? Like when it's that early on. So, like, I'm not going to mentor anyone else. I'm going to give people advice, but I'm not going to like stick by them and say, "Go here right now and attack this person," that sort of thing.
To be fair, like Reese,
like Yoda.
Yeah.
Like the last time I actually probably called upon your knowledge of the game was like, I'm so close to getting my 100% map completion. There's 2 things missing.
Yeah.
Tony, where are they?
Yeah. I don't even have to be on the same map. You just like roughly explain. I'm like, okay, have you got these ones? And I just like list them out.
Yeah.
And, like, okay.
There's a tree which kind of looks like just go 3 steps to the left. Oh, there it is.
How do you know anything, Tony?
Oddly enough, I think that sounds like the start of a dungeon. Not a dungeon, a jumping puzzle.
Yeah. The jumping puzzles so well hidden. Oh, some of them are very, very well hidden. But yeah, I just wanted to put that in there because like I remember when I first started the game, just the wonder of it all. It didn't even matter if I ventured somewhere that was too high of a level for me. I'd be like, oh, I can come back here level when I'm the right level and stuff like that. And I wish I could go back. I wish I had a time machine so I can go back and start the game again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like from the very beginning and have all those new experiences over again. So dungeons, however, want to make a quick note about this. I'm trying to be as fair as I can. I know I'm very biased when it comes to Guild Wars 2. I know I am, right? Stating it here. I tried to make a point of as much of the negatives as I could, and dungeons is one of them. I've already stated why rangers are basically banned from the majority of dungeons.
Mm.
There are some dungeons, however, which are still broken to this day, and it's 2 years after launch. There was one actually where Matt, in the second dungeon, we were trying to do. There's a story mode in each of the dungeons. Then there's 3 paths in each of the dungeons. So, you know, to complete one full dungeon will take you many, many runs, right?
Right.
And they're not the same runs. You go different paths. Basically, it's a big map, but each path will take you a different area, right?
Yeah, so you essentially hit like a one point. It's like, follow me and we'll go deal with this. But if you come with me, we'll take care of that.
Yeah.
It sort of just like runs off like in that sort of tangent.
Yeah. Matt did a story mode of Cordicus Manor, which is the second dungeon, 3 times, and it bugged out for him each of those times.
At the end.
At the end of the dungeon.
Ooh.
Which, by the way, dungeon runs, when you're doing them for the first time, can take you anywhere from 1 hour to 3 hours. Even in Iraq, it could probably take you 4 hours, depending on which one you choose.
Jesus.
So, can you imagine doing 4 hours of work and then being told at the end, yeah, the game's bugged, you can't get your reward?
Yeah.
You're a bit annoying. Now, luckily... Well, I say luckily...
It's fixed now.
It's fixed now, but it took them like 18 months to patch it. And there's still a few dungeon runs that are... Like, for instance, there's one in Iraq Story, halfway through the game... there'll be like another ship that picks you up. You're supposed to jump over to it, and it transports you somewhere. That was bugged for ages. People couldn't do it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in the dungeons and also I find that dungeons, as much as I praise the combat, you know, and I said to you, Chris, yeah, I said that one of the best bits about the combat is that you can dodge, you can move, you have to keep an eye on track, and sometimes the battles are like that, you know. But more often than not, on some of the more tried and tested paths, it basically devolves into everyone running this spot, and we'll lure the boss over here, and basically you just spam your spells.
Yeah.
which isn't really fun. I do it just because it's a good way of making gold, and getting dungeon tokens. But it isn't fun. It doesn't stay true to the Guild Wars ethos.
No.
So in that sense, that's a little bit broken as well. Like me and Matt can run 2 dungeon runs, which is Koth Path 1 and AC Path 3 with our eyes closed.
Yeah.
We've run it that many times. And a lot of it devolves into you run in here, everyone run into this spot, draw the boss over, nuke it, move on. And it's, a little bit. And a part of the issue with the dungeons is that me and Matt did a path. So me and Nikki also did this path by accident a couple of weeks ago. But it's a path in AC. I say AC. Ascalon Catacombs is the first dungeon in the game, right? But all the parts bar the story mode are level 80 paths. No, they're not. I'm saying that wrong. You would want to be level 80 to play them effectively, right? So a lot of people can't say it like that, right? So if you were to do Path 2, it's a considerably longer and harder than Path 3, which me and Matt have run tons and tons and tons of times. It's much, much easier and is very, very quick to do. The issue is you get the same amount of gold and rewards and dungeon loot for both paths. So you can understand why people run one instead of the other.
Yeah.
And what really annoys me about what they did is that they patched it and they made different rewards for different paths. Everyone was like, fantastic, we're going to get more stuff if we do the harder routes. It's still that case. For those 2 paths, at very least, it's still the same case. It will still take much longer and you get exactly the same stuff. So they obviously didn't put that much thought into doing that, So this is the reason now that me and Matt can run those 2 dungeon paths, even though there's, over 40 in the game. Like, every single time we log on, we do those dungeon paths. But there's still some dungeon paths I haven't experienced in the game, because it's like, why would you want to when these 2 dungeon... Koth Path 1, which is like a very late game dungeon, but that Path 1 can be done in 10 minutes.
Oh, Jesus.
10 minutes. Yeah. Which is madness. Why would you want to go do another dungeon if you don't have a lot of time? Then that one where you can get the same loot there. You just do it once a day and you move on. I've done that one dungeon path probably over 200 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they've now... so fortunately or unfortunately, you can do dungeon runs you can do the same run more than once a day, but you won't get the same result.
Yeah, you won't get the same result, but for someone that's played it, I would argue that's too late now, because the majority of people that have played the game, they won't play for 8 hours on end. Even though I've played so many hours, I don't play 8 hours of Guild Wars in a run. I just can't do it. So I play a couple of hours, and that will include a 10-minute COF Path 1 run, which will give me the same amount of loot as some poor sod trudging it through like a different route, and they'll get, it might take them 2 hours to do the run, and I get the same stuff as they do in 10 minutes.
Wow.
So yeah, you know what I mean. So some of it, and 2 years later, they could have put more thought into it, and they have announced that they've put no thought into it now. So they're not going to patch and change it, which is a bit of a shame. That's the main reason why I haven't gone and done every dungeon path in the game, because to me, especially when I was chasing for legendaries, there was no point. So there we are. Story. Okay, here's interesting. The personal story, right? The personal story in Guild Wars 2 basically evolves around instance parts that change depending your race. What you pick at the beginning of your bio, so like for instance as a human at the start of the game, you can choose whether your lifelong ambition was to be in the circus or to find your lost long brother,
or whether you were born to common folk, or highborn.
Who is your favoured god and stuff like that, because they've got a very intricate law and religion, around all of the races and stuff, which I know. I won't bore people with it now, but so all those choices in the game will actually cause like different paths for your personal story.
Yeah.
So you could play a personal story as a human warrior and have a completely different personal story to me playing as a human warrior.
Yeah, right.
Which is it is cool. I'm going to say right now, like in terms of like games like World of Warcraft, there's no comparison. Guild Wars 2 knocks it out of the park. I think, and a lot of other people agree, however, that it's stuck in the middle ground, that while it's a better story that MMOs have, it's like, it shows you like that an MMO could do a story and then it filters off. It's like it can be a story and it can give you different choices and then you're expecting it to get better, but then it's like pretty much 80 levels of the same thing. So while it's really good, and I'm not going to say it's not worth playing. Your first time playing it through, you'll be like, wow, this is awesome. I can make my own choices about my adventure and my history and what I do and what I choose to attack and how I choose to attack it and stuff like that, which is awesome. In no MMO has it ever done that before, but it gives you so much choice that in a way you're kind of expecting a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. Do you have a better way of explaining it, Matt? Or is he not there? I guess he's gone off to the toilet. So it's really weird to explain the way they do it, but it's like you are expecting like I don't know how to. But do you kind of get what I'm saying though? A little bit, like it achieves what it sets out to do. So you're expecting it to go to another level, but it just doesn't go there. But that is kind of okay in the same thing. Like it's still the best story in an MMO in terms of an actual like your character story, and that continue to level 80. Some of the issues. Go on. Oh, you are there now. Okay.
Yeah. But at least, like, you get the variety, because, like, which order do you go with? Like, do you become a member of the Vigil or the Order of Whispers and things like that?
Yeah.
And there's still little tweaks that sort of your decisions made depending on... Well, the story just goes depending on your decisions made. It's like, I think it'd be really good if we sort of make sure our supplies are in check rather than just charging straight for the gate.
Yeah.
And the story will go with that.
See, I found it like World of Warcraft. I can't even remember the story.
Yeah.
And I played quite a lot of it, and like
It has a story?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing. It's like the story in World of Warcraft. No one can remember because there isn't really a story at all.
Yeah.
So there's just nothing. There's it's just stuff to kind of keep you along, keep you moving to new areas, kind of things, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, like the main story in Guild Wars 2 overall is 5 Elder Dragons have awoken. There are 6, but you only know of 5 so far, right?
Yeah.
5 have awoken. They've all left their own mark on the land or underground. I won't go into all the lore, but one of them is called Zaitan, and he rose up like an entire continent on his own.
Wow.
He essentially brought like Atlantis to the surface.
Yeah, and with it, all the people that drowned when it was blown up in an early... I know all this lore, I just don't want to go into it too much because I won't stop. Is that all those people that died and all the monsters that were there, all the animals, he's essentially turned them into zombies called Risen, right?
Jeez. All right.
And they are the Risen. So essentially, as soon as he brought it up...
You can get a Risen gorilla.
Yeah, you can fight Risen gorillas and stuff like that. And literally, the end part of the game, which you explore... You can explore outside of the story if you want to, but, the end part of the story and the explorable areas, like the level 80 explorable areas, are in the place called Ore, which is this place that he's risen from the bottom of the ocean. And basically, it's a really... Some people find it boring. I find it interesting because it literally is the ruins of a once great city. So there's, like, ruins of towers, big, giant, like, religious plinths, that big battles actually happen on, but it's like they're desecrated. You can kind of imagine in your eye as you walk around it how the place would have looked, and it's kind of cool, especially if you're into the lore like I am, and knew a lot of stuff about it before. But basically the entire personal story is that this is the dragon that's causing us the most trouble. This is the dragon that we need to kill. So how do you kill a elder dragon that has never died and has lived for thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years and has such an amazing power set?
You press number 2.
Yeah. Matt's bringing up the worst part of the personal story, which is the final mission.
Yeah, I've heard you rant about this before.
Yeah. So, I'm building up the Elder Dragons, they're awesome. They are pretty awesome. They've got a lot of different powers. We're fighting Mordremoth now in the living story, which I'll go into. And some of the stuff he can do is just mental, right? It's just mad. And Zaitan is pulled over. In the entire personal story, he's built as this guy that's just like, as this dragon. It's like, it's going to be risky for us to even kill this dude. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard for us to even get close to him, let alone kill him. So it builds up to the fact that, you're expecting this big, magnificent dragon. You get it. Once you see him, it's like, wow, this dragon is awesome. Like, he looks He looks terrifying. He looks like an undead dragon, you know, not a bone dragon, but an undead dragon. He looks scary as shit. You're expected to fight him because there are dragon battles earlier on in the game, which are awesome. And I'm talking about 100 people against one dragon. Awesome. If you can imagine that.
The scale is amazing.
The scale is amazing. And then, as Matt says, all you do to kill Zaitan, the big boss, you've spent 200 hours getting to this point in the game where you can fight Zaitan. You've gone through all these dungeons, you've done all this work, and all you do is press 2 to kill him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does 2 do?
2 is fire cannon.
Yeah. And
Because by that point, you're on a big airship.
And you just basically keep pressing 2, and then you win.
Ah.
Yeah.
So this dragon that is near impossible to kill is killed by a cannon on a ship.
Yeah. I can't defend it. I personally can't. As much as I love this game, it's a shit ending. Categorically. It's so underwhelming because, as I said there before, like you have dragon battles in the game, which are going to memorable moments just in a sec before we go to World versus World. We're getting through this pretty quickly. Most memorable moments in the game for me are the dragon battles when you first do them. Now, I've done them like loads and loads of times, so the appeal's worn off. But the first time that you go to this area and you've got this big open landscape, and you're like, "What's this for?" And loads of players are amassing. You're like, "What the fuck's going on here?" And suddenly, a fuck off dragon the size of the entirety of your army that's standing there waiting to fight this thing, like flies in, and suddenly it's like, yeah, you have to fight it now, and you actually have to hack at its legs. It will like throw stuff at you. It will create minions on the fly. It's mad. It's awesome. And some of the one of the dragon battles at the very end, like they've changed it now. He was very easy to beat, but now you need like 150 people all coordinated on TeamSpeak with 3 different commanders just to beat the guy. Like he is fucking hard.
What, the new
Tequatl.
The new Tequatl?
Yeah.
I haven't even been to Tequatl since he's been updated. Yeah. It's like, I know that it's gone terrible.
Yeah. He literally went from about 5 people could beat him to 150 people often fail at killing him.
Wow.
He is hard to kill. But like it's awesome. Even when you get killed by him, he'll like throw tidal waves at you, and you've got to dodge them. You've got to like dodge these big bloated mines that like come out of the sea because he summons them up. It sounds awesome, and it is. It really is cool. To go from that to the big, like, apparently Zaitan is this guy's, like, big grand champion. He's the top daddy. And all these little dragons are just, like, little champions of his. And yet you kill him by pressing 2. It's just not the same. It's just, the feeling is not there. You know?
Yeah, it's a bit of a sellout, really, isn't it? It's just like,
something's gone horribly wrong kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very much an anticlimax.
Either to me, they ran out of money and had to release the game as it was, or they just genuinely thought that was okay, and that's the more scarier thing.
Either that, or they just ran out of ideas. It's like,
or they run out of something. Either it was money, time, or cake, and they just said, "You know what, this will do. Check it out quickly.
Check it out." Yeah, which is
either that or
I think a difficult thing that they had though is like, as Tony said, like the big dragon battles are like massive. Like you need 100 people for it. Some of them not so much, like the Shatterer, for example.
Yeah, 20 people could kill the Shatterer.
20 people could beat him. But it's at the end of a dungeon, like Zaitan's at an end of a dungeon. A dungeon's a 5-man team.
Yeah.
I think their only thing is, well, if he's meant to be the biggest thing ever, how are 5 people meant to take it down?
Yeah. Well, the way I would have programmed it, and I know this would have taken a lot more work, so I know this is just dream programming, right? You know, but the way I would have done it, you're on an airship. Why not flow the airship close to weak points that he's on, and that way you have to attack the weak points. So you still got him there. He's still looking fantastic. You could even swipe the ship every now and then. And while minions are, as you're attacking him, minions are spurting off. He's raising minions on the fly.
Well, minions you still have to fight off minions.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. That way you're close to him. You're like you are actually attacking him. You know what I mean. You're attacking like the parts of him to hack him down. And I've been watching a Final Fantasy X Let's Play, and like the way that they take down Sin is like the way that I want them to take down Zaitan in this game. It's like piece by piece you knock him down.
Yeah.
They did something similar in Kingdom Hearts. And they did something similar in Spyro, so it's not a new final battle idea, but still it doesn't make any sense.
Spyro.
Yeah. It is a little bit. It leaves a sour taste in the end of your mouth at the end of the game. But
from what I've seen of it, like it's you and a bunch of other guys on like a castle, like trying to shoot him down. Maybe they wanted like a sense of like community achievement kind of thing. That maybe that's what they were going for, but didn't think it through quite far enough.
If that's what they're going for, it wasn't executed that well because it is too boring. It's just sitting there like if you had done it and like maybe it's like a very elaborate cutscene that you are still pressing 2, but you're seeing him slowly get destroyed. It's not like that. It's like once you basically just drain his bar and then you get a cutscene where he dies. It's a little bit lackluster, but still. Let's talk about memorable moments, and then we'll go through the PvE and World vs. World very quickly, and then talk.
Actually, are you not going to mention Traherne at all?
Oh, you had to bring him up, didn't you?
I had to.
Right, in the story, there's a character called Traherne. Guild Wars has a philosophy of sometimes you're not meant to be the hero, but you do all the work. So, in Guild Wars Nightfall, which is Guild Wars 1 and the one of the expansions was Nightfall, there was a character called Cormyr who did exactly the same thing. That essentially, she did nothing and you did everything. She became a god.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, she actually becomes a god, like full-on god, full god powers and everything, right?
Yeah.
But you get nothing, right? In this one, it's a little bit like the same. The difference with Cormyr, she had a decent voice actor in Guild Wars 1. Traherne has the worst voice actor.
What I need you to do, Commander, is go and kill him, and then come back, and I will claim all your victories.
And get ready, champions, because we're going to fight them where they live and get pumped up, because it's...
We shall fight them on the beaches.
Yeah.
Is this not the most heroic speech ever that you have heard? Delivered perfectly. Are you rallied?
Boom!
I was like, if this is the most the most passion this guy can exert, I hate to see it when he's not passionate.
Yeah.
How
Maybe
boring
he's just
would
the
that
exact opposite. Like when he's not passionate, it's just like, this is the fucking greatest cheese sandwich in the world.
Yeah.
We will go
This is
and
the
fight
finest
them.
great bread you've ever seen in the land. Right, now time to act.
Yeah. Yeah, he's bad. He is really bad. There is
Hey, Traherne, what are you doing upstairs? Taking the most epic shit ever. Power poo.
Men, gather the toilet roll, for we will have to go and defeat our enemies.
Squire, fetch me my plunger.
It is ironic though. Like he is so emotionless and so void, and it's got such a bad sound to his character that when he is trying to do these rallying speeches, it fails so flat. It's just like I can't get into this because he doesn't sound like he's into it. Sounds like
he's just like,
yeah.
Really takes you out then.
Yeah, that's it. Most memorable moments, anyway. I'm going to list off my 3 quickly. Get my first legendary weapon, which is the most expensive and best weapons in the game.
Yep.
I actually got, my hands were shaking as I forged my first legendary. My second legendary was a legendary greatsword, much more expensive, much better looking. But because I had already done it once, I guess it had worn off a little bit because I was like, oh, this is awesome. But I wasn't like when I first did my first one, I was shaking when I was pressing the OK button. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And it takes my second legendary took me 8 months of constant play to get, so they're not easy. So when you see someone with a legendary, it's like, wow, you know what they went through to get that. It's a lot of play, a lot of grind to get them.
Yeah.
Clearing AC for the first time. Because when me and Matt and Morgan tried it, the very first time we tried, our very first dungeon was the first dungeon, which is Ascalon Catacombs. We basically all got destroyed very early on. Now me and Matt can run through it, as we said before, with our eyes closed. It's easy. It's not an issue at all. But when we first cleared it, as level 80s, that had barely any good gear on, and it was awesome.
For a while, it definitely was post-traumatic stress. Sort of does dungeons, no dungeons are bad. Never going to touch a dungeon.
And then my last one is the first dragon battle. Seeing the Shatterer for the first time will always remain with me. I thought that was just the most brilliant thing I'd ever seen in any game. Being able to fight something that big with that many people, and it was just all fluid.
And the scale of the entry as well, which is just the whole sort of scream and swoop and...
And it's not like everyone's like standing exactly where he spawns. Everyone stands on a hill just where he lands. So when he lands, everyone runs in. It feels like it's about it. Like you got people in the chat shouting "charge" and everything. Everyone's like, "Yeah, come on, take down the dragon!"
Glory.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's definitely one thing I do like about Guild Wars, just like the community on the map chat.
Yeah. Oh, Guild Wars 2. Just because I'll forget this, by the way. You may think MMOs have really toxic communities, and they do, by nature. Like, World of Warcraft has a very toxic community. Guild Wars 2 has a prized, friendly community. One of the friendliest communities in MMOs.
Wow.
Yeah. By far, I would say.
Yeah, that's very rare these days.
Yeah. I think
I still enjoy just wandering around and stumbling across, like, someone in the map chat is just like under speak, so they're not everyone knows, but you're walking past something,
yeah,
and then you look in. You can walk in, and it's a pub, and there's just like a dedicated role play guild.
Yeah.
So there's like the wandering role players, like the WRP guild, something like that, and it's just suddenly just like, oh yes, and then this, and it's like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like we've done roleplay nights now, and it's just been so much fun. And we've actually made, like, there was someone who just started playing the game, and they saw us role playing, and now they're part of our guild. But they were like, "Wow, like this is amazing! You have that you have players that actually do this." There's a lot more players out there that like. They would introduce you to things, and like you ask something in map chat, and you won't. Sometimes you get the odd dick. It's an MMO. You will sometimes get a penis, and like, oh, where is this point of interest? And someone would be like, oh, fucking noob. Just like look up on YouTube, you noob. You will occasionally get that, but 9 times out of 10, you'll get someone like, oh, it's actually here. I can actually come to you and help you get it if you want. If you like, do you want me to party up with you? That way I can show you where it is, any more information. 9 times out of 10 you'll get the nicest people that will tell you exactly what you need to know, which I think is amazing, because I've played World of Warcraft, as you say, Chris, you have before there. The very first time I asked someone in World of Warcraft how to help with something, they laughed and said I shouldn't play the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, really?
This is your community. Douchebags.
Yeah. And I was in the starting area, no less, so...
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't do that. I mean, if we were playing MMO and someone came wandering up to us and going, I don't know where something is, can you give us a hand, or can you just give us a hand with this quest that's over here?
No problem.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it's over there.
Yeah. Like, I've often... you make a lot of friends in the game, because when you help people are very, happy, they want to help you back out for doing it, so a lot of the times I've made friends in the game. I've made like American friends in the game, South African friends in the game, because they've said something in the chat and I'm like, well, it is quite a hard jumping puzzle, but I can come and help you do it, I've got no problems with doing that. And then they're like, okay, can I friend you in the game, can we do stuff? And now, like, in our guild we've got like American guildies, we've got German guildies now, so we've got
I did wonder.
Yeah. So a very friendly community, I'd say.
Yeah,
but
it's just like it's just easy to make friends that way, and there's no need to be a dick.
Yeah. But it is an MMO. Some people will say, I just say that in Guild Wars more often than not, you will get someone that will go out of their way to help you, and it's pretty cool.
But on the other side, you can get people who are douchebags if you don't help them out, or like demand you help them.
Yes.
Because I've had people that kind of do that to me as well. I've recently played the Final Fantasy MMO they came out with recently.
Yeah, 14.
I played a bit of that. I've fallen out with it a little bit just because I can't follow what's going on. There's a loads of story, but you kind of need to be up on Final Fantasy to really understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I kind of get out my depth, and I'm like, I don't really know what's happening. I'm going to go play Black Flag, but I'm going to go be a pirate. Fuck this. But I've been playing that, and I was walking through the starting area. Bear in mind, I'm only like level 20-ish. I think I'm like level 27 or something. And I was wandering through the starting area, and this dude just go woof straight up in front of my character, and it's like, oh, where's this? And like in Final Fantasy, like people can get in your way. You have to walk around dudes. And he's like, oh, where's this thing? And I didn't know what it was. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I don't actually know where that is. He's like, oh, well, can you help me find it? It's like, well, I've just got to turn in this quest, and then I'm actually leaving. And he fucking gave me loads of shit for it. It's like, oh, fuck you, you should help me, you're being such a dick. It's like, dude, like, kind of like I think I had to go to work or something. It's like, dude, I've got to go to work. I'm just turning in this quest, and then I'm going.
Oh, no, that's really bad.
Idiots.
Yeah, it's like people come up to you, like, demand they help you, or if you say, sorry, I can't help you, they have a massive go at you. It's like, well, dude,
Yeah, no, I go. No, I
It's
haven't
not like
seen.
I've turned around and gone, "Oh, you're a fucking noob. You shouldn't be playing the game. Hurt noob. Why don't you go play Pac-Man? You fucking noob."
Yeah. No, I haven't seen any of that in Guild Wars. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen because, as you imagine, I'm not there online on every server all the time. There's no way I can know. But the only times that I've found arguments in Guild Wars 2 is when someone slates the game and they're doing it to troll, and then people defend it because they love the game. That's often what happened. Or someone will say something that's incredibly stupid, and people are like, no, and do a very thought out response, but then they're trolling anyway. I just block them. I just can't be bothered with people like that. But,
I mean, the only thing is, like, it's more so now with the fact that they've gone for like the mega server. But
yeah.
Like, to begin with, like, we could only speak for what we found on the Aurora Glade.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, you still get some people, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but one of the things that they did in one of the updates is they introduced the mega server. So when you go into an area now, it will basically put you in the first available server, and that could be from anyone from any server.
Yeah.
In there, so like for instance, like the German guildie that we have is on a completely different server to us, but because they were in our mega server, that's the reason why we saw them and could play with them. So that is pretty cool because that means it basically made it so like you could be on at like early hours in the morning on Aurora Glade, which is a European European server, which is the one that we play on, right? Because it's that time of morning, there's like no one's going to be around. You're not going to be able to meet up with people randomly and just do quests and find people and do stuff like that. But because now it's a mega server, it will just put you in where there's the most people.
Yeah.
So you will find I guarantee you will find almost always at any time of the day you'll find people in that area doing stuff. So it's pretty cool that it does that. Let's move on. I'm actually going to go over World vs World PvP just really quickly because the expansion is going to take up the most time because I want to explain what the Living World and what Guild Wars is doing with that. But World vs World, I explained a little bit what it was earlier on. The only thing I'd add on to it is that one of the negatives of World vs World, it is very fun, and I can guarantee people getting into it the first time is that you'll be overawed at the scale of it. That like you'll be charging and facing giant castles and like having massive armies fight each other. It's pretty cool. The only thing is, I would not go in there anything less than a level 80 because you'll just get dicked on.
Hey, Poe.
Yeah, easily enough.
And some classes are completely wrong for World vs World as well, but we'll go into that. Morgan very rarely plays World vs World with his Ellie because it's very easily killed, and when you're facing on an upwards on a regular basis at very least 50 people all the time, or you're taking siege damage. The one thing you want to stay is like you want to be able to take a hit, so if you're anything less than level 80, those hits you're taking are going to damage you way more. You want to go in there when you feel confident that you can kill someone.
Yeah.
Or at the very least take a hit, and if you're not, then I wouldn't go into it. But World vs World is really fun. They've done a lot of good stuff with that. PvP, the one thing I say is that the most improved part of Guild Wars 2 is the PvP, the standard PvP. They completely scrapped the reward system and made it now. So you basically choose like a reward track. I've chosen the reward track, and basically when I play that, if I play enough PvP, wherever I lose, I still get some experience towards it. But if I win, then I get loads and loads of experience. And basically, I can unlock stuff that goes not only from PvP, but goes back into PvE. So I can get dungeon armor, dungeon weapons. That normally, like, if let's say you don't want to play those dungeons, you can play PvP, and you can play shit, if you're not that way inclined, you're not very good at it. But you can still earn enough experience to get that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of different ways to get the things that you might want. Because there's hundreds of different looks in the game. Matt's thief looks like Sub-Zero, so...
Yeah. No, my thief can look like whoever I want, just with a change of one colour.
Yeah, and suddenly you can be Scorpion and all this lot as well.
A reptile, yeah. Like, dick, 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 dick.
Yeah, see. Is there any skills with a warrior that does that?
Not that pulls them to you.
Oh, no. That's a shame. What about... Oh, no, sorry, that's a thief anyway. There's none with thief, though, is there? They're missing out on that. They need to get that on thief. But yeah, the reward system in that is brilliant. Really, really fun. And it's done in a system that, like, it gives you 8 big rewards and a big final reward, but between those 8 big rewards, you get loads of tiny little rewards. So it's like all the time you're getting something for your work. And you'll get money and stuff for completing PvP. It's really well done. Really, really good. Expansion. Here we go. Here's the final bit that we're going to talk about, because I know we've been rambling on this about a while. The expansion. So the majority of MMOs, even Guild Wars 1, will run expansions. Like World of Warcraft's had a few of them now. Like Warlords of Draenor is the new one coming out. I think, is it? Do you guys know?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really.
It's Warlords of something. Like, some of the guys at work have been just like, watch these videos. What I admit, the videos are really cool. I'm not playing it.
No.
Is it Warlords
like,
of...
I get hassled at work. It's like, but it's free up until level 20. No.
Not doing it, no. But yeah, even Guild Wars 1, in the first 2 years of Guild Wars 1 being released, they had 2 major expansions released into the game. Which seems like a lot, and I would agree is a lot, but they were really good expansions. I don't know how they managed to do it, but they basically made 2 entirely new maps into the game within 2 years. It was mental. But the way that Guild Wars 2 is doing it, and I don't agree with it, first of all, but I'll explain what it is that they introduced the living story. So basically what happens now is that there's been no expansion, but what they do is that they released episodic style updates to the game that give you like a little bit of story, and then basically 2 weeks after that you'll get the next part of the story.
How much is it?
It's free. Right?
Really?
Yes.
Really?
It sounds crazy, right? It's free and you get it for free. As long as you log in within those 2 weeks, you get it absolutely free forever. You don't have to pay a single penny. Which is awesome in terms of that, and that's why you guys may think I'm being really tetchy and like saying that I don't like it. I do like the living story. I should explain. I do like the living story, but I don't like it over the alternative that we could have had, right? So basically what happened then, every 2 weeks, you get a story update, maybe a few smaller little updates to the game. You get some stuff in the gem store, microtransactions, which you don't need to get. By the way, in Guild Wars 2, I should have done this at the start, it does have microtransactions, but they're all cosmetic. There's nothing in the game that you can buy with real-world money to make you a better player.
So people can't be better of you by having virtue of more money.
Yeah, no. And they would have to spend a lot of money to like really make any sort of difference if they were going that route. I mean hundreds upon hundreds of pounds to even get a small little increase on what they would do, So very fair, Guild Wars 2, in that sense. But the living story. So we're on season 2 now. The issue now, and I think it's highlighted more in the fact, is that yes, new story updates every 2 weeks sounds great, and it is when it's working. When it's on, I've got no problems with it going on. But ArenaNet, who are the developers of the game, they take massive breaks. Basically, they will do a season break in the middle of their season, much like some television series would do. But this isn't like 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. The break that they've had between this season has been 3 months.
Whoa.
I would state that 3 months is far too long to have a break. I'm already out of the story, which was getting me very well hooked in. And I don't think the way that they stated that they're making a game is that they have 4 different departments working in rotation. So that way, they basically have 2 months each to make a living story, because that will last for 2 weeks, So 4 teams doing a 2-week thing makes 2 months, so they've got 2 months to make the next one, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they literally did 4 updates, which is then you would think about 2 months worth of work, and then went on this 3-month break when they've not released anything. Now they have released a feature patch where they've done a lot of different tinkers with the game, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Like those are the sort of stuff that you shouldn't really advertise. That's stuff you should fix with your game over time, regardless.
Yeah.
So I don't think that should be a big advertised. This is a big feature patch including all this stuff. This is stuff that you should be doing, along those lines. And the reason why I dislike the living story is not for the story. I think the story that they've done in season 2, I think is brilliant. I'm really into it. I really want to see the differences. All the characters are much better. I think the characters in the living story are better than the ones that are in the personal story, where you buy the game. But the issue with it is that they've stated categorically, they haven't stated, right? Here's the reason why I think that ArenaNet are not working on an expansion. A lot of people believe that they are behind the scenes and they're just not telling anyone. I don't think they are, because if they were working on an expansion, why hide it? Because you would announce that you're working on an expansion. That would keep people a reason to have like stock in the game. I'm not going to leave this because I know huge big expansion's coming. Even if it was 2 years down the line, I'd be excited waiting for it, you know. But they've stated on numerous times that the only thing they're working on is a living story, and people are just holding on to the fact that, oh, you know, Arena, they must be working on an expansion, or they can't seem to accept the option that maybe they're not working on an expansion, and the living story is what we'll get for the next 3 years until they decide, okay, we'll make Guild Wars 3, you know, along those lines. I would prefer an expansion over a living story. I'm interested to see what Matt has to think about that, though. Would you take an expansion?
I'm enjoying the living story. Like, I really am. And this halt has been a real dick.
Yeah.
Like, the whole... Like, Scarlet was just great the whole way through. And I enjoyed it. Especially considering it's like, oh, look at Lion's Arch. Lion's Arch is so perfect. Oh, look how amazing it is. Destroy it.
Yeah.
Destroy everything about it. And it's gone from this big, sort of, big bustling world to just wreckage.
Yeah.
And a game to just sort of like, oh, is this our communal area? Burn it.
Yeah. it does have strengths that they can change the world. That's why they call it the living world. You know, the living story.
Yeah.
I think it is the living world. I've been calling it the living story. But yeah, like, they couldn't do that in an expansion because it would make no sense. But having it like as a free story update, and then they did literally nuke the home city of the world. It's like, what? This place is sacred. You can't do that. And it's like, yeah,
that's it.
It was pretty awesome.
You like place, don't you?
But like we've got a new Elder Dragon, like we've got Mordramoth, and it's like, and the final battle that's just been like in the Pale Tree, and it's like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Now you have to wait until November.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was crazy, and that would be a total of 3 months since their last update. I just don't get it. I don't get it, but
I would quite like an expansion. I want to play as a Tengu.
I want to go to Alona. Just saying.
I want to play as a Tengu.
Yeah, you want to play as Tengu. Basically, there's a race in a game called a Tengu, and they're basically bird-like hunters. And Matt's been dying to have one, so he's like, I want to play.
You mean like a
Tengu.
Velociraptor?
More feathery.
I get what you mean, though.
Velociraptors were feathery.
More feathery.
No, they weren't. They were Jurassic Park.
Holy shit!
I'm not gonna
we're going to compare Jurassic
That's
Park
not
to
proper
actual
Velociraptors were a lot
science.
smaller and feathery. I watched Walk with Dinosaurs extensively.
Yeah, well, I watched all the Jurassic Parks, and that's totally factio.
Yeah.
Including the next one that's coming out, Jurassic World, where they're going to have human dinosaur hybrids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally
That happens.
Yeah. Well, I trust Chris because, I mean, you just told us there. That's a lot of stuff to watch. Chris, I'm with you, man. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Checkmate, Tom.
Yeah. The other thing.
Just trying to bring it back. Like, the only reason, like, my only problem with making a Tengu is like I'd have to make it a ranger, and I already have a ranger.
You already have a level 80 ranger, so
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing as well is that, like, with Guild Wars 1, the main campaign takes place in Tyria, which is the same place that everything takes place on in Guild Wars 2. Now, in Guild Wars 2, there's a lot more to explore. They opened up the map, loads more, and like in January, like they kind of like there's in Guild Wars 1, everything was like a little bit zoomed out in a way. I can't really explain it, but you can visit the same area in Guild Wars 2, and there's a lot more to see. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot more personal, you know, in regards to that. But in Guild Wars 1, they released 2 different other continents, which was Cantha and Alona. They had their own lore, their own religions, their own backstories. It was so extensive, and I loved it to bits, you know, especially Alona, which is like the African-inspired continent. And it's got so much awesome lore behind it. But if we get no expansion, it means we're not going there. And that really, I'm like, I want to go back to those places and see what's happened. So... And, like, the whole Cantha thing...
It's 200 years on.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Cantha thing is awesome, right? They could do an expansion in Cantha, and they've already stated in Cantha that it's becoming like a xenophobic state, that they don't allow anyone apart from humans there. So imagine, like, something really big happens, and suddenly all these other races start fluttering in. It could be like a race battle, man. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. But, no, it doesn't look like they're going that way. But the reason why I think that they're not working on expansion, it just makes no sense. Like, a lot of people are leaving the game because they think nothing else big is coming up on the horizon. And if ArenaNet were working on something big, it makes no sense for them to just keep it under Sturm and then announce it a month before it's due to be released. It makes no sense. So I think that, honestly, this Living World is their idea of what an expansion is. They've stated it's an expansion's worth of content, which I disagree with, but it's just them using that word, an expansion's worth of content, makes it seem like, well, we're giving you an expansion just in bits. You know what I mean? I would much rather wait, let them work on a brand new area, brand new continent, brand new systems, brand new minigames, brand new PvP maps, all this other stuff, world versus world maps and all this other stuff that they did like in Guild Wars 1. Wait for 2 years, I would legitimately pay full price for that, rather than having little bits added here for a story and maybe a map added here sometimes. Yeah. That's my opinion. When something's good, I've got no problem paying money for an expansion for it, especially when you get your money's worth. And in Guild Wars 2, like, it's basically value all over. You will get your money's worth with the game. So,
when they're selling Guild Wars 2, doesn't the site have like quite regular, like, half price or 25% off offers? I've noticed they do it quite regularly.
Yeah.
So they did one at the beginning of the year. They did one during the summer. I know over last Christmas they had one going. So
there we go. Why don't you all have the game?
Yeah.
Because my computer will fucking explode.
It's like, you're downloading Tyria? What the hell are you doing to me? I can't handle this. I think what ArenaNet, I think ArenaNet, and this is a good thing on them, they're proud of what they made, and they should be. It's a phenomenal game. Proud enough that they're willing to put the game on sale and hope that people like what they see enough to invest in it in terms of microtransactions.
Yes.
Which I know Matt has done. I haven't. But if I had more free money, I would, definitely. Because in buying gems and stuff, buying the transaction.
I saw literally just like, payday, treat. Just a little bit.
That's it. And one of the other things as well, I mean, they're very generous. I don't know why they do this, but they're very generous. Anything that you want in the gem store, which normally you would have to buy with, real world money and microtransactions and all that, you can actually transfer your gold into gems, and it isn't half bad either. I've got, I think 3 character slot upgrades, which are 800 gems, which is quite an amount, but I bought them all through gold. So if you play it enough and you get a lot of money, and you like, for instance, for me, there's nothing really I want to get with my money now, so I just build it up. Like, it's not like, oh, you've got this money, you can't spend it. It's like, well, you can spend it in the gem stores, trade it over for gems if you want. You can get stuff that you could have bought with a credit card, but because you played the game so much and supported us, you can get it with the money that you've earned in the game if you want to do it that way. So very, very, very generous in that sense, because the amount of games that you find like that are like, okay, here's some stuff you can buy with gold, and all this and this other stuff that you can only buy with a credit card. You can't buy with gold. You can't buy with in-game money. Like, that doesn't work. For Guild Wars to even offer that option, I think that's very generous. And Matt even got a refund from them once, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Because I thought it would work along, like we mentioned earlier, like how I have an armor skin that makes me look like Sub-Zero or Scorpion or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was like a new skin which was like, make your eyes glow, and I was like, that would look really awesome with like the whole Shadow Ninja look.
Yeah.
But no, I bought it, like 600 gems, great. I can only have one or the other. Bollocks. Yeah. So I was just like, dear ArenaNet, I bought it. It's not what I wanted it for. Can I get a refund? Usually no, but we'll make an exception this time. Thank you. I got my 600 gems back, and I still have the skin.
Nice.
Yeah. And you hear hundreds of stories of that. Now, obviously, people taking them to the cleaners and be like, oh, yeah, I don't want this just for the sake of... Like, Matt could easily abuse the system and try and get away with it. They won't let you get away with that, but, like, the first mistake you made, and if you're very nice about responding to them, they more often than not will work with you. They're very...
Yeah, if you send, like, a big ranty letter, they'll pretty much just tell you to piss off. But...
Yeah. Especially if you keep doing it over and over again, And there is people that have tried that. I think it's quite funny looking on the forums, and people are like, "You suspended my account. I only made one name that was offensive and stuff." And it's like, and then the person's like, "I'm not going to list the amount of names and what names you actually made that were offensive because I don't have that much time to type offensive names." It's like, like don't try and like, you know, try and they obviously have like a system in the game that knows like what you've tried to put in, and this guy's trying to like bullshit and saying I didn't make all these offensive names. It's like, well, yeah, actually you did. So, yeah, it's quite funny when you read that.
Well, linked to your email address that you're trying to currently to set an account on.
Yeah,
we've got Cunt Nugget and Fuck Shitty Cumballs and
Scooty with Booger Balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah,
I didn't make offensive names. Go away.
Yeah, there's actually a great video. Like they stopped it now. I know what they did, but in Guild Wars 1. If you got banned from the game for basically saying stuff, the former former god of death, Doom, basically looks like a giant Grim Reaper. I'm not kidding here. It was like there's actually a video of it. This guy basically shouted the N word over and over again to get his account banned just to see it. So you can understand why they didn't do it in Guild Wars 2. But in Guild Wars 1, if you would do that over and over again, the Doom, the former undead lord of the underworld and all this, like, would rise up from the ground. He would scythe your character, and your character would be permanently dead. You couldn't revive him.
Whoa.
So there would be like one person would say in the chat, like this happened a few times when I was playing it. I'm going to get my account banned. Everyone run towards me, and there literally be hordes of people waiting for Doom to rise up and like literally perma-ban this guy by scything him. It was quite funny.
Take me, Dark One.
Yeah, take me by shouting the N word thousands of times in a row. It's quite I'm done, guys. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything about Guild Wars 2. I'm trying very much not to go into like all sort of stuff about the lore, but I think I'm done for now. Does anyone add anything about Guild Wars 2? Or bring up any questions about the game?
Does it not have I hope it didn't make the abominable mistake that Destiny made by making its lore only accessible from a third-party website you have to exit the game to fucking find.
No. The lore is very accessible in the game.
Dude, and what fucking idiot was in charge of that? like, who the fuck is going to exit out of the game to find out a bit of lore online, which you have to like enter a code off a card for? Who the fuck's going to do that?
I think the logic behind that was just like they don't want to. They might want to read it when they're not playing, you know.
They make it accessible in both, I would say.
The code as well, so then you've got to write down the code. It's just.
Oh, forget that then.
Yeah.
It's pointless. It's like you've got a card which reveals some lore, but you can't read it here. You have to go to this site and look it up.
Yeah, is it? You know, with Guild Wars 2. It's actually pretty cool in the sense that if you want to delve deeper into the maps and talk to each NPC, then you will get a lot of lore, and like the deeper you go, you'll find more mysteries and stuff. There's a great YouTuber, one of the best YouTubers for Guild Wars 2 is Wooden Potatoes. He does a load of lore about Guild Wars mysteries and stuff, and they're very interesting, and some of them are relevant today.
The thing I really like is the fact that there's quite a lot of little nods. Like a lot of tip of the hat, nod of acknowledgement to the previous game.
Yeah.
Like there's a little girl in the first Guild Wars who's lost her flute.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just like, I can't remember her name. Tony.
Gwen.
There we go. And there's a graveyard in 2 where you can go to her grave.
Yeah.
All right.
And one of her descendants is one of the main characters in Guild Wars 2 as well.
Yeah.
Logan Thackeray. Gwen marries Kieran Thackeray in Eye of the North.
Oh
yeah. She's a grown girl by that point. She marries him. Their descendants 200 years later ends up being Logan Thackeray, who is in Guild Wars 2.
Who's a douche.
Who is a dick, yeah. A stupid idiot, but still. But yeah, there's loads of nods to it and stuff. Loads of really obscure nods. That like stuff like if you had really searched like the very bowels and the depths of like Guild Wars 1 lore because you really loved it and there's a lot of stuff to find there, then if you go again, you look into the bowels and the depths of Guild Wars 2, you'll find nods back to that stuff you found in Guild Wars 1. And like you'll find like a tomb of a guy that you thought was buried in Guild Wars 1, then you realise that his tomb is empty and he was never buried at all. And it's like, what actually happened to this guy? I thought this story ended, but obviously it doesn't, you know? It's like, whoa, this opens up a completely different thing, and it's like, awesome. It's
OMG, man.
Yeah. You'll see statues of players, of some of the characters that you fought with in Guild Wars 1. You'll, like, if you've played Guild Wars 1, and Guild Wars 1 is still a great game to play now, if you really want to get into the whole Guild Wars stuff, I would still recommend playing Guild Wars 2 because, that is the superior game. But if you get so much into Guild Wars 2 and think, I don't want to play Guild Wars 1 because it's so back, there's no one playing it anymore, I would still recommend it because you can play all the content without anyone. So, and Guild Wars 1 is genuinely a great game. So, but yeah, in terms of lore, the thing with Guild Wars 2, it doesn't give as much lore as Guild Wars 1, I'm going to say that now. But people often add up the amount of lore that we got in Guild Wars 1 over this entire 7-8 year lifespan, and Guild Wars 2's only been out for 2 years. So I imagine, by the time that Guild Wars 2 is 7-8 years old, that there was going to be as much lore, I hope anyway, as there was in Guild Wars 1. And just as many mysteries and loose ends and stuff like that for you to go chase and figure out.
Well, with the amount of characters that are in it, sort of like Star Wars, I guess, there's a lot of places for fans themselves to take it in books and stuff, and there's authors that the makers can ArenaNet can employ to write basically backstory and fiction for it. And if they want, they can just go, we like that one, we'll turn it into the game, we'll put it in the game somewhere.
Well, they've released 3 novels. I've read one of them, I haven't read the other 2. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's
I know it's probably a really cheap way of doing it, but it's actually quite a cost-effective way of doing it as well. It's we need more story. Let's find a really popular fan fiction. That's good. Put that in the game. Make the writer a character in it or something. Give them some credit, but do that.
No, I Guild Wars 2 is just it's almost midnight, so I might as well wrap up here. In generalization, Guild Wars 2 to me is one of the greatest games I've ever played in terms of value. I have played it to death. I'm still playing. I have no intentions of stopping. The only reason I have at the moment is because my laptop is no, I don't want to play at the moment. And some of the glaring stuff that is annoying. That they haven't patched the dungeon glitches and stuff like that. Yeah, they haven't looked into that, and some of the stuff they do need to go back and fix. But it's almost like Skyrim, right? It's such a massive game that the sum of its parts way outdo any of the small niggling stuff that might annoy you. The whole game as a whole, it gives you so much for so little. And the more you want to get into it, like I said, I had played the game for 500 hours. You think that's a lot of time? I had 100% in the map. Then I decided to go through my achievements list and realised I hadn't stepped into any of the mini dungeons in the game. Any of them. I hadn't found any of them. So I made it my quest then to go and find the mini dungeons, which you can solo. You can do them on your own. And they're not massive. They might take you maybe 40 minutes to get through. Some of them. If you had to escort an NPC or something like that. But it's these huge areas of the game and this really cool architecture that you never saw there before. That you must have run past at least 10 times. And you just didn't think, wow, if I put this stuff with this or go talk to that guy and talk to that guy, then suddenly this whole different thing opens up and it's wow, I've never seen this before.
Well, there was one we had that with when the whole Scarlet thing was kicking off. And I don't know if we were meant to have stumbled across it, but we found where they were building the airship.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it's just this is freaking huge.
Yeah. And it's I did there's a mini dungeon in one of the starting areas of the game that you only get from throwing a boulder, and you think, oh yeah, it's just you find boulders in some of the more rocky places of the game. It's just something you can pick up and throw at things. If you pick it up and throw it towards this big gong thing, then it actually opens up this mini dungeon, and you actually go in there and you have to dodge all these things trying to shoot arrows at you, and then there's a puzzle later on. It's I never knew this was here. I must have made 5 characters by that point, and I've done that starting area, and I never figured it out. And it's all these awesome things that once you completed the game, you think, oh, I've seen everything this game has to offer, and you're wait a minute, I haven't. There's loads of stuff hidden. There's all these jumping puzzles, mini dungeons, all these other little secrets, and all these other NPCs I haven't spoken to, and these quest lines and stuff it's just it is packed. It's deceptively packed. That is way more than what you see in the game. It is, and in terms of MMO, is unparalleled value. The fact you pay it once and you don't have to worry about paying anything again. to play it.
I have to say that is something that surprised me when you first told me that. I went, oh well, how much is it a month? Because it sounded like there was a shit ton of content in it.
Yeah.
I expected it to be really expensive. You're like, no, it's just no cost. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just buy the game.
What really annoys me is that some people have said the reason that they don't keep playing it is because it doesn't have a subscription fee, and I'm like, what?
They don't play it because they're not
reason?
paying for it.
Yeah,
I can't understand that mindset.
yeah.
No.
I don't get that myself. I'm like, the reason I play it is because I don't have to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
but they're like, oh, the fact I'm paying for it puts drives me to play the game. I'm like, well, the game itself for me drives me to play the game, so I don't have to issue about that. You know what I mean?
People on a monthly subscription to the gym still don't go to the gym that much.
Yeah.
Guilty.
I know that the majority of us here have the game. I know, Chris, you want to get the game, which is the power of getting the system up to scratch.
I do, yeah. If I had a decent computer, I'd already have it and I would have logged in a shit ton of hours, but my computer just straight up won't handle it. There's no point in even trying. I mean, it won't even handle PlanetSide 2 for fuck's sake.
Yeah, especially
there's no way in hell it's going to handle Guild Wars 2, even if I turn everything down to the bare minimum.
And that's not the way to play Guild Wars 2, is to play it on minimum. You want it at the very least. The game is pretty. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
You put it on max settings, which I have done on occasion when my laptop is not on the fritz and I'm not in a hugely populated area. Oh wow, it's such a beautifully crafted
That's it. It's like,
game.
do I really need this? The frames per second. I can afford it. I can afford a tank in it.
Yeah.
Everything to a maximum, the best it could look.
Every now and then you'll find yourself, you're like, okay, I'm not in an area that's got a lot of people. And it looks really beautiful. Do I really need 30 frames per second, or will I just sacrifice 10 frames a second to make it look like the greatest thing I've ever seen? It's like, yeah, I'll do that every now and then, and it's worth it as well, because it's like, wow, some of the vistas when you've got them on full settings, it's like it's nothing you would expect from an MMO, Large expanses, I've seen Elder Scrolls and the large expanses of nothingness. Guild Wars 2 doesn't commit that crime at all in any of the maps that it has. It's got something everywhere, so that's pretty amazing. The fact that they managed to do that. So anyway, that's my generalization of it. I could go on for ages. I'm trying to stop myself.
I think we better cut you off here, Tony.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll cut you off now. That's it.
That's it. Is there anything else he wants to say before I continue on? Finish up?
No, I think we covered everything pretty well.
Pretty well done.
We didn't cover everything because the game was huge, but yeah.
We've been going on for quite a while now. I think we've covered enough.
Yeah. I did warn you guys. But yeah, it's 10 minutes to midnight, and I'm getting tired myself. So, thank you guys there for watching this week. Just to have a quick recap of what we're reviewing next week. I will be reviewing Destiny. Do you guys know what you're reviewing next week?
I'm going to be reviewing Call of Juarez, the Cartel.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I've never played the game, but I can promise you now that this is going to be the only game I've hated this much. I will be dripping bile by the end of this.
That's why I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's great. Why don't we make next episode a Rage episode?
I guess Destiny I
everyone
would
pick a
be
game
raging
that we
it.
hate.
When you say that, I was thinking about doing Final Fantasy 13.
Oh,
Okay, we'll
I'm
do
not going
next.
to touch that with 29.5 at Barge while being held by someone else.
We're going to make next episode the Rage episode, so it may not be Destiny because there is parts about Destiny I actually like, but yeah, the Rage episode. Then we're just saying it now, a game that we can all rage about. So bring the game that you hate the most, or at the current moment. Review it. There's a few good ones. A few good bad ones. I think is probably the best. So yeah, apart from that, then guys,
Bullet Witch.
Huh?
Bullet Witch.
That game
Bullet
fucking
Witch.
stinks. Oh my god.
I've still got that funnel in.
I think I do as well. I might have to dust it off and remind myself.
Yeah, you just catch a glimpse of it every so often and go, ugh. Shut up.
What are you going to be reviewing next week, Chris?
I don't know, I'm going to have to look.
Resident Evil 6, perhaps?
No, you see, because I didn't actually mind Resident Evil 6. I didn't think it was half as bad as everyone makes it out to be. It's not as bad as number 4 or number 5.
Oh, whoa! Number 4 is a
bad.
fucking masterpiece over number 6. Let's not start this now.
Yeah.
All right. It's been long enough. All right. All right. So
This isn't over, Chris.
No, I'm sorry, everyone bitches about it because of the storyline. It's just fucking lazy. Everyone gets lazy over the storyline just because it's not a single continuation storyline. It's got separate ones which all tie into each other actually quite nicely. And it's got more characters in it, and everyone's like, oh, there's no enough Leon. There's no enough Leon. The quest is too long. It spins too long. I don't get how they tie in. Well, stop being a lazy dick and actually think about it, and you'll connect it.
I just don't like the
I
fact
think it's
that there's
poo.
this one boss that turns into a giant 16-foot long wolf and then shrivels back into a humanoid size without explaining where the fuck the rest of him goes.
right, let's start this now.
It's
Let's
a
start this now.
zombie universe. Come on.
This episode's going to be like hours to
Makes
render.
no fucking sense.
And a guy with a big burlap sack and his on his head with loads of nails in it makes sense, does it? The big
Yes.
river monster in number 4 makes sense, does it? I was doing a hand motion there as well. I should really have the webcam on. The river monster. Woo!
Alright, no, we're not doing this now. We're ending the podcast.
Tom started it.
We'll do it. I tell you what, we'll even have this next week. We'll talk about it, okay?
Okay.
Do one of the news things, okay? Alright, thanks a lot, guys.
Okay.
And we'll catch you all again next week. Everyone say goodbye now.
Bye, guys.
Okay, I'll say bye now.
Bye-bye.